to Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode 202. Nice and smooth.
Wow.
How's that? Yeah.
Very smooth. Listen to that.
Yeah.
Audio
Right?
clean. I'm wondering, please, we were just talking about this right before we hit the record button. We do see and hear a difference. Whether you care to see a difference, if you hear a difference, that's what we care about, because it
Right.
has sounded cleaner. Like, for the most part. Again, every now and then, I am in my basement, so every now and then you're going to get the trickling of water if someone wants to take a shower or whatever just happens to be right there. If my daughter hops in, then we're going to hear it, or the furnace goes on for now until I get this enclosed. But
Enclosed.
other than that, until I make it its own room or entity down the line at some point, and I have my
Wow.
an actual closed off space instead of just a little nook of a basement.
You're gonna get one of those professional rooms, like you see people when they got those the soundproof thing, and they got those those
egg,
pyramids.
like,
yeah,
no.
those things coming out. That would be something, huh? Just on the sides, you could have a door that opens up, and it's a pyramid thing. The fucking.
I've been in. Have you ever been in? So, because I work in the hearing aid sort of industry, when I went, this is my old gig now, my old job, they took us to the head office where they do some of the testing. And have you ever been in a soundproof? Now, I'm not talking about a recording studio room. I'm talking about like a soundproof chamber. You can't stay in there long. It'll drive me crazy. It's just, you hear nothing. It's horrible.
I just went into one about 3 weeks ago. I'm going to say now, right? 3 to 4 weeks ago, because I wanted to get. Ever since I had COVID, I've had this low pitch, high pitch, but low hearing, low frequency, and a high frequency, but it's low to me because it's either way it's in the background. Like right now, I don't hear it because I'm talking to you, but if I go anywhere, if I go in a bathroom or something, or a lot of times if I just get out of my car or something, and I realize I have music on, but not too loud anymore. You know what I mean? So it isn't because I'm blasting music, but the ringing you'll get in your ears if you go to a concert or something the night before.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've had this ring consistently since I've had COVID in
like
both
tinnitus.
ears at all times.
This is tinnitus or tinnitus. It's pronounced both ways. That's actually been well documented that there seems to be hearing loss or possible tinnitus suddenly since people have had COVID. So that's actually documented.
Well, I went to the doctor for it. I said, listen, they sent me to a specialist because I told them, So I went in and I got to go into one of those rooms. It was a smaller room. You go in. I find it actually quite comfortable and calming to be in that room with no sound, and they had those things on the wall and be in it. But I do like that feeling. I don't know. Could I stay there a whole day? I don't know.
Are you talking about a sound booth, or are you talking about one of those rooms that, because there's sound, like, again, recording studios or sound, like they protected them. I can deal with that. I'm talking about like a sound chamber where it's like enclosed and you walk in and you're like, oh, this feels weird. Like your whole, it almost fucks you with your spatial, like it's fucked.
At least the thing is this. Yeah. If they're going to give you a hearing test, which they did, they put the thing on me, you would have to assume it has to be a soundproof room, right? Because you have to make sure that you're not supposed to hear anything from the outside. And if you do, it's very muffled. So whatever room that was, I was quite comfortable in it. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the calmness of it and whatnot. But check it though. So the guy, I go in and I take the test. They put the thing on, and I got to listen to beeps, and I got to take one off and put one on and do this, and I do both. And this thing takes 20 minutes. So I'm taking all these tests, right? Well, I get out and I go see the doctor after, and he goes, "Well,
what's up, Doc?" Well, I'm sorry, everybody.
Hold on. What were the options? He says. He goes, "Well, here's the thing." He goes, "If you have ringing in your ear," he says, it's two possible reasons. He says, one is there's something wrong with your jaw, like freaking, he says, do you grind your teeth at night? I said, no, I used to do it. I don't anymore, apparently. My wife's the one that tells me. Years ago, I did it. I stopped. And he says, okay, do you have TMJ or anything? I said, no. And he goes, because here's the thing. He goes, there's two reasons why this happens in your ear. He says, one is because of what I said, it's jaw related. The other is because it's hearing loss. And he goes, well, I got to tell you. He goes, your hearing, he goes, He goes, "You're hearing way too well for someone your age," he says. He goes, "Your hearing I'm telling you," he said, "My hearing was extraordinary." He says, I'm you have extraordinary hearing." He goes, "You heard everything." I said, "Okay." I go, "I know. I've always thought that I had great hearing. My wife busts my balls. I don't hear. I always tell people, I'm like, I'm telling you, I fucking hear just fine.
Selective hearing.
I'm going to get tested." Right? Yeah, maybe that's it. Right? But it's like, so it's not, so at least I know that my hearing is right on. It's good to know. But the thing is, there's no answer as to why. So I'm just stuck with this fucking little ringing in my ear till I die. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yes and no, because there's no known cure for tinnitus. Is it always going? And then usually what ends up happening is when you're distracted, when there's like something playing, a movie, or you're talking, or there's noise or whatever, you don't notice it because your mind's taken off of it. So there's ways to take your mind off of it, so that it's more habitual. It's not a cure, but there's, like, for instance, we have a technology in our devices that we came up with called Zen. It's been out since 2008, 2009.
Everything Zen.
Exactly.
2 shows in a row.
Every time
Might
we
be our
heard
new
it,
intro.
exactly.
Push.
And it's like fractal tones that help you, like almost discordant, that you can have, and they play in the background, but it helps just take your mind off of it. So it's kind of relaxing, but it also just sort of retrains your brain in a sense. I hate that term, but to not think about the ringing. But it's not a cure. It's just a way to,
No.
And it's not a masker either, because there's masking, which is like white noise, pink noise, all the sound machines and whatever, which might be good at nighttime for you. But
well, I'm okay. There's the thing. I'm like, now 90% of the waking hour, I don't notice it because my mind never rests. Unfortunately, it's fucking ADHDville here. So it's like, it's very rare that I'm just sitting there and there's no thought going on in my brain and I'm just there. But
I hope so.
Apparently, right. Well, thought, yeah. I mean, there's cognitive thinking and whatnot, but I mean, there's thought, but there's usually like deep thought at all times. There's usually something, like I'm engaged with you now and I'm thinking about what I'm saying. But what if I'm alone? There's usually, there's this going on over here and there's this over here. It's a mess. It really is. But the thing is, usually I have something on my mind or my brain is occupied. So I'm okay. It's those moments where it's not, like I shut off the radio in my car. I get home, I park my car in the garage, turn the key, and just for that second, I hear the noise. Then if I always in the bathroom, for some reason, if I go upstairs and I go in my room and I sit on the toilet,
taking a mean shit,
that is where I get it the most. I don't know if it's the enclosed room or what the deal is, but that's when I always know. Any bathroom, honestly, any bathroom in this house, a small room and a closed door, that's when it seems to be more prevalent.
And it may go away on its own, and it may be with you forever. It may get worse. Imagine that 24/7, which some people have, and louder or slightly louder, not like, but just like you can't stop it. It will drive you insane, which is what it does for some people, depending on how severe. So that's why there's treatments, but no cure, unfortunately. Speaking of that, related but not at the same token, it's about ringing in the ears. So I get this frequency in my ear, and this happened yesterday. And as I got it, so Carrie and I went out shopping just to grab a few groceries, and then we're driving home, and I'm like, oh, I got the ring in the ear. This happens when a cop, and then we passed a cop doing radar. As soon as I said it, I'm like, a cop, and I didn't even get my sentence out, because I'm going to say, as we pass, and I always see a cop doing radar, and I get this particular frequency that I'm like, oh, I go, there must be a cop doing radar. I caught on to it like about, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, where I'm like, it happens where you're like, oh, I got that sound. And then I get the sound and see a cop. Get the sound. After the second time, I'm like, this is weird. So then I've always been mindful of it. And sometimes I don't see the cop. Maybe I'm just not noticing where they are. But a lot of times I do. And yesterday, as I was telling Carrie about this, a cop was doing radar. Just not even 500 meters up the street. It was crazy. We just passed by, and I'm like, I can't believe it. So
Dude,
I wish it would work like that. It would give me like a beep, 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 like a total, total warning. But
still,
no, but you can hear it. It's the craziest thing.
that's a
I
great
don't know.
thing because now you can't
What?
get radared.
However, well, yeah, trust me, I can't. However, we have an app for one of our products that uses a high frequency tone. I was going to play it. That's what I was fumbling around with when you're talking about not like you're hearing too well. This app, if I play it, it does a high frequency to change programs or volume in your hearing aids. And I don't want to get boring or too technical, but it uses a high frequency tone. I can't hear this tone for the life of me. So I'm like, ding, ding, and it drives fucking Carrie crazy. So if you ever, if got boys or girls, if you want to drive your significant other crazy, they got great hearing, just download this app, Tone Link app, and you hit the button and it emits this high frequency thing that only few people can hear. But it may drive you crazy, so you might not want to do it. But I can't hear it at all.
I'm intrigued. Well, I'm intrigued. What am I messing?
I don't know. You know. I don't know if it will translate over the microphone, but hey, why wouldn't it? So let me see.
Yeah, right. I hear nothing.
Yeah, neither do I. But I never do.
Doing. Okay,
but it's doing it.
It's funny you should say this. I'm gonna try to. Oh, are you doing it? Hold on, I'll try.
Yeah.
No, I don't hear it.
No.
I do not hear
okay.
It. So, okay, it's funny you should say this because Francesca, my brother does this occasionally to her because he found this thing on YouTube. It's supposed to be. Hold on, let me see if I can find one. She can hear like something that's designed for like only dogs can hear. Or something like that.
I'm surprised my dog doesn't go crazy for that because you got dog whistle, right? The old Teen Wolf dog whistle.
It's something.
That's the only movie a dog whistle is used.
Is that what they're called? Dog whistle sound? Okay, dog whistle sound. That came right up. So there it is. Yeah, see, there's this one here. We've done it many times. It says sound experiment. Okay, and it has the sound waves on it. Dog whistle. I'm gonna play it. Let's see if anything happens. This video will demonstrate 8 different frequencies of sound. Well, how long does this take? Oh, 1 minute. Tell me if you hear anything.
Why am I going to my microphone? Nothing.
Right. Nothing. Okay. Same here. Not a thing. If Francesca comes down, I'm going to play this fucking thing. It's right here. And she's going to she'll look and see what. Yeah, but it's made for dog whistles. Isn't that weird?
Speaking about music, like just sound and everything, since we're on this topic, I watched The French Connection 2 last week while I was traveling for work on the plane. I just wanted to, I'm going through those old movies, blind spots, movies I hadn't seen. And I had to watch this. Listen to this music. This is at the end of the music cues are a little bit throughout, but mostly at the end, because this is when I noticed it anyway. So check this out. Tell me what this reminds you of. Let me make sure my volume's up.
I hear nothing.
Oh.
No, I can't hear anything. What's going on here?
Oh God. I played it right through the microphone. That's so anyway, I can hear it perfectly right now.
You can hear it, but I can't.
Yeah, hold on. Let me jack up my microphone.
I thought you hadn't played it yet. That's ridiculous. How could you hear it and I can't? It's right next to your mic, right?
I'm playing it right into the mic. What just happened?
Maybe. Oh, buddy, you know why I can't hear it? Because you have your fucking AirPods on. Only you can hear it.
No. It's going through the microphone.
It's impossible. I literally hear not one fucking sound. I don't. It's got to be in your AirPods. It's got to be connected to your freaking equipment there. Not one thing. There's no way my hearing's that bad.
So weird.
Not one thing.
I guarantee everybody else can hear it.
That's fucking out of control. What do you mean, like the listeners?
You can hear me talking, right?
Huh?
You can hear me talking?
Yes, of course. Loud and clear.
How can you not hear this?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's got to be hooked up to your AirPods.
It's not. I can hear it.
This is ridiculous. I promise I'm not messing around here. I really am not. I cannot hear a thing.
That is so fucking weird.
Well, let's see if any listeners.
Go back to that doctor.
Well, the listeners would hear it, right? It's your mic.
Yeah, you should hear it. You can hear my voice.
Of course. I'm telling you, that's fine. I don't know what
audio is coming out of my mouth to the microphone to your ears. Audio is coming out of the speaker to the microphone to your ears. It's the weirdest thing. Not right now. I'm not playing it right now, but I was. It's the weirdest thing because God forbid you want this thing to plays flawlessly if you're not like on a time or whatever, and it's frozen with no fucking play button in the middle. I don't know if you can even see it. There's no fucking play button showing up in the middle of the screen where you would hit play.
Tell me the name of the song. Tell me the name of the song.
It's not a song. It sounds like Friday the 13th, Part 2.
Damn it!
That's all I was getting at. It was. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, I can't because it's just the soundtrack at the end of the movie, and I don't think it's on like Apple Music or everything. But the sound cues resemble Friday the 13th so much. In that one scene, I'm like, I can't fucking believe I heard it, and I rewound it. I can't believe like I'm having a problem with this right now. It will not let me play. Like, why? No play button. Never
it's
before the history. Never
it's my curse
of me using this iPad have I had a problem ever with and no play button.
It's my curse. It transcends fucking time and space. If I'm involved,
I got a play button.
Computer-related things don't work. I'm telling you.
It's like it doesn't want me to play that part.
No. He's pressing the button on his iPad to play. Oh, wait a minute. Now it's finally working. Complete silence. I don't know.
You know what? I bet you anything. It's the stupid. I think it's the way that I had this microphone set up. I bet you anything it's cutting out because it's music and not my voice.
Oh, maybe.
Let me just see. Let me just fucking see this fucking piece of
This is great.
We're figuring this out live. I don't care if it's boring the shit out of everybody. We're listening to it. Noise suppression. Maybe that's the reason why. Fucking live performance audio. You're going to get fucking live performance audio is what you're going to get.
Unbelievable.
Oh, I'm going to make this work. I'll just edit.
Well, now you've ruined the surprise, though. I already know what I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to hear.
I'm going to fucking go insane, though. No play button. No play button again. No fucking play button again.
It's me. I'm telling you. This is my life. It's rubbed off on you just because I'm involved.
It's happening.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
So I get a play button every place on this video except where I want to hit fucking play. I'm gonna blow a gasket.
I know the feeling. Believe me, I know that. Makes no damn sense. These computers.
Here we go. You hear this?
No.
I'm gonna fucking throw this through the roof.
I might have to bullshit you just to keep you fucking calm.
Make me happy. Tell me you can hear it. Tell me it sounds like Friday the 13th Part 2.
Yeah, that's the sound right before. Right, that's it. Right before Vicky gets killed and Jason comes out of the bed. I heard it.
Perfect, beautiful. And now, is it an Indian on the wall, on the drawing, on the painting, or is it just an old man?
It's Conway Twitty or whoever the fuck I said it was.
Holy shit! I don't know what's going on, but anyway, let me just throw this the fuck away and readjust my audio because I'm probably.
Holy shit!
So I probably went off the charts there, everybody. But
that was great. It's about time someone did besides me. That's okay.
The fucking play button disappeared. Disappeared.
Play button disappeared.
It's like even the iPad didn't want to play this shit.
I believe every word of this. I know. It's my life. I've experienced it. Even now at work, I have things happening here. A little thing that's supposed to be like a little calendar where you're supposed to click something to schedule something just is not in my fucking thing, and nobody can figure out why. Random tiny glitches on little things on my computer, nobody can figure out why. And I keep telling people, this is why I believe in so much more than what we see here. This is why I have faith. This is why I have a spirituality, because there's so much more, because there are things at hand. I don't care what anybody says at this point.
You think God didn't want me to play this today?
I don't know if it's God God as a itself.
Fuck the French Connection too. It's a shit sequel.
I'm just saying
Sign
that
God.
there are forces we don't understand. Maybe it's an electromagnetic force. Who knows? Maybe it's something that my body gives off or something. I don't know. But then again, it's way over there. So it's got to be something. I don't want to say supernatural, but I want to see something otherworldly, I suppose, in a way.
Maybe it's a French Canadian connection.
Maybe so. French Canadian.
Yeah, these are the caliber of joke today, folks. And I don't apologize. Fuck you. This is what you get.
We're just getting warmed up here, you know?
Yeah.
Don't start now.
We're the opening act for 22 shots.
If there ever is a 22 shot show again, at this
Holy shit, have they still not recorded?
Me included. No, it hasn't recorded.
I know you. I know you're in everything now.
No, everything.
Yeah.
I do the show
Almost
with those
everything.
guys. I do that show with those guys. The top 10 shows. Sure. What else am I doing? I did a guest appearance on Slumber Party Massacre. Well, we were on break, and it actually fell in a perfect time. So, you know what I mean? That's when I would rather do everything. If I'm on a break from this show or something's going on and I have the extra time, that usually I'll put it out there. Hey, if anybody needs a guest. That just happened to fall in line with something that we discussed a few months earlier. So it made it even, better. But, now my mother was gone for 3 months. Longer. Let's see. She was gone. When did she leave? When did they? January, first week of January, February, March, April. Yeah, so let's say 3 months. All this time, we're not recording Jay of the Dead's new horror movies because Jay was going through some stuff health-wise, in and out of hospitals. Right? So there was shit going on. Now, thank goodness he's okay, but it started in November, like Thanksgiving with him. We didn't even do a Thanksgiving show. We had some idea. So he started getting it around Thanksgiving. So all that time he was out, we were barely recording. My mother was gone, right? Now my mother comes home. My mother. Signed, a mother. Love him as only a mother could. Signed, a mother. You know what that is?
No.
From Popeye. It's Popeye.
Oh, that's the reason why.
Robin Williams.
Oh, they could once as a kid. I know that's a favorite of yours. You and Bill Casanelli, I think, are the only two fans of that movie.
And not just us. I want to see Gary Miller too.
Oh, I bet Chris A.K. Scott. I think he talks about that. There's certain movies that it's funny. I'm aware of, but I never realized had such a cult following. Or I guess you could say that about anything. There's always going to be an audience for something like fucking Spookies, like fucking Marco. Wow. Marco, you have nothing better to do in Finland than put fucking spookilies.
Spookily dookily. Spookilies. That's a movie we should make. Spookilies.
See, that's Spookilies. I will say the logo, the title of the logo for it looks cool. I'll give it that credit. Where it's like that, good font, good coloring, and I think it's got like the Goonies skull there or whatever for the eye. But other than that,
I should watch it.
Anyway,
I should watch it.
You were talking about your mother.
Oh yeah, so anyway, she was gone. She's doing her snowbird thing. So now she's home. But here's the thing: we go to my mother's house Sundays at 5 for dinner. You know what I mean? She'll have us over. Now, all of a sudden, Jay is back. He's feeling good. They figured out what was wrong, and he's been patched up. Everything's cool. So now that we're trying to get all these recordings done, when do we record? Sunday at 5. So now, all this time when my mother was gone, I could have recorded every Sunday at 5, except, Super Bowl Sunday or something. I was available. Now, literally, my mother comes home last week. I saw her last week for the first time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now we're hammering home these we're going to record. And now I got to pick and choose. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to go to my mother's every single week. But
that's how it always happens, though. Every time you get this open up. Remember, I thought this month was fucked for me? And then we started peeling back the list. I thought this would be the only weekend I could record. And then it ended up being, we did Good Friday this weekend. And because I'm not going to the next dance competition, we could record next weekend. But I thought I was fucked for this month.
Well, we get ahead while we can. That's all. We keep going as long as we can.
We get ahead while we can.
you know, right? Hey, did you ever go to Hamburg or no? Did you ever make
I
it?
did go to I did go to
Okay.
Hamburg,
You came up
but
here, fellas, close
I
to
am
us,
glad
people.
no, but I'm glad that I didn't say let's do it because it would have been a disaster. It would just wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
Even though you're close enough, the proximity, the timing would have just not worked. So I would have felt rushed, and then I would have been, and then it
Oh,
felt like I would have
yeah.
been like a. So it's just better to hold off and do it the way that we do it, or that I can actually spend time and
Oh,
not
yeah,
feel
of
like
course.
I'm
Yeah.
just a whirlwind tornado through the house.
Right. You know, there's a tornado happening somewhere else. My mother told me, my wife told me, I keep thinking about my mother. No, my wife said something last night to me about it. There's a tornado somewhere. It's St. Louis. I got to reach out to Wazell. That's where he is. So, but apparently there's a tornado. I don't watch the news. I don't watch nothing. I hear everything secondhand through her. So what do I know? You know what I mean?
There's not
I
the
have
one.
no
There was one
interest.
that hit like, oh, I don't know where that. I can't remember where that was now. But there's one that hit a few weeks back. Pretty brutal.
Yeah, there was something that was almost going
I
to come
can't.
here. It didn't
Yeah.
happen. There was some wind, whatever. How about this? Ever since I left, I went out with my foot injury in October, right? I'm going to get MRI fucking this week, by the way. Finally. So now,
Wait a second here. Finally, I thought you had one already.
no.
So this is what I wanted to steal a term from you, but I can't even fucking remember what like boils my balls is what I'll say right now.
Frost my
Every
balls.
time I'm on frost my balls, there we go. Every time I'm on fucking social media and I happen to stupidly click on something that's health related, and we get this discussion. It's kind of political and almost political in its rage inducing factor where it like we'll talk about how the states versus Canada, socialized versus whatever. And the big argument, everybody's like, Canada's the best or it sucked. Because if I was in the States, I'd be able to get my MRI tomorrow and whatever. And in Canada, you have to wait and whatever. And I'm like, okay, but I've never had a problem with it. And if they deem it more serious, you'll be put at the front of the line. But now you're telling me that you've essentially had to wait months.
Well, no. They didn't want me to get one. I found out.
Take everything
right.
back.
That's what I'm. Yeah, no, but you still have to make the appointment, and it's usually a couple weeks to get in. You know what I mean? So
now, if you had the money, you could probably go tomorrow to get one done, right? I guess that's what it boils down to.
I never thought about that. I don't know if can you bribe an office? I have no idea.
I don't know if
I mean,
I don't know if it's about, well, again, it's not a bribe because it's capitalism, but essentially you could pay for services rendered. So pay for faster services. It's not a bribe. It's just I've got money and I want it to be taken care of now.
I don't know how that works. I guess you'd have to call every office in town and see which ones cost more money or something. I don't know. That's a weird idea to me. You know what I mean? Well,
see, that's what I've always been told about. If you don't like, yeah, you can have health insurance, but there's also the option to pay to get immediate service, which is what they're starting to try to introduce here in Canada for people that don't want to wait through like sort of a privatized version of our healthcare. So you could pay to have things done maybe at a faster rate. But again, who is initiating this? I get it. I would not be against it, but the whole point of socialized is everybody gets the same care and everybody's taken care of. And this is being introduced by, I'm sure both parties are behind it, but typically a conservative backing. And the only reason I said that is because it's about making money. And there's another avenue to squeeze money out of it. And the argument is, well, then you wouldn't be paying your taxes because we had a hefty amount taken off our taxes to cover medicine for everybody. That's the socialized aspect of it.
Makes sense.
But it's worked fine. I had no problems with it. Yeah, of course, nobody likes having all these taxes taken away, and I'd prefer to pay for my own health care. But they want to make sure everybody's taken care of. So there's two ways to argue this.
Well, let me ask you this: percentage-wise, when they started instituting this idea, were they taking more of a percentage of taxes away from your income?
It hasn't even gotten to that point yet. It hasn't gotten to that point yet. It's just being the idea is being introduced to, it's by the conservative or Republican kind of sector of being able to offer this. And again, it's because you can make more money. That's why
the conservatives want to have something socialistic. You're telling me?
No, we have socialized medicine here. This is what everybody gets like, oh, socialized. Oh my God,
Okay,
it's
I got
horrible.
that,
And
but
and for me, it's been fantastic. For my family, it's been fantastic. Now, we
okay,
haven't had anything extraordinary or extraordinarily, like problematic. But even with my dad back in the day when he was alive and whatever, he was able to see people when he needed to see them. My mom's been able to, like, yeah, sometimes there's a bit of a wait and they're not going next day for certain things unless they deem it
well,
appropriate. Like when my daughter had the thing and she was a kid, but 16-year-old kid at the time when it was happening with her eyes and whatever like that, they sped her through the process and whatever. But it's all an idea, because remember, if it's happening to you, you're going to think, of course it's important. Of course this is serious. It's top priority. But they see tons of people and they've got to make sure they can figure out the level of severity. So what I'm saying is this is over and above it. They're looking at entertaining the idea of saying we want to privatize medicine like it is in the States, where essentially you pay for the services. Though this one, I don't even know about how if our OHIP will be covered there, or if it's like a cross pay in the sense of like OHIP will cover a certain amount, but then you've got to pay out of pocket for a certain amount. That I don't know. There's certain things that are not covered. Before almost everything was. Now there's certain tests that you have to do that you might have to pay extra for here and there, $100, $200, whatever it may be. But for the most part, you go to the doctor, you're not paying a cent at all.
right on. Hey,
ever.
Good.
But they're trying to introduce this. And I just think it's going to build and build and build. Maybe not during my lifetime, it might be introduced and it might be an option, but I still think we'll still have our general, like sort of federal countrywide healthcare system.
Man. Yeah. It's a mess. But I mean, I think I'd probably rather have it your way.
I'm telling you, go into debt. And this has been the ongoing argument. And people say, if you have insurance, I get it. You might not go into debt. You'll probably be fully covered and whatever, whether you have a baby or whatever. Here, you just have a baby. You're not worrying about, can I take time off work? Am I going to be paid? Do I have to pay $15,000 to have the baby delivered?
Right.
You just have the baby. Now, I get that most people have it covered in the States too, but I've heard horror stories that some don't.
Well, I'll tell you
how
this.
You pay out of pocket for that. That'd be fucking crazy.
My problem. My brother tells me, because he deals with a lot of Canadian. It's a Canadian based company. So what happens is, and this is the negative part of it that I didn't think about till he told me. See, it's like everything. You don't know until you're in someone else's shoes and you hear every other aspect of it. So what happens is this: when somebody has a baby, and there was a guy and his family had a baby, and I forgot how much time he took off. 1 month, 2 months, whatever the hell it is. What they do is they put people in his position. Either they put someone else in their position to take his place while he's gone, like a temp, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and it fucks up the whole program. Or they don't put anybody in there, and now everybody else is trying to do the job of one guy, and it's a high.
What do they do in the States?
Stress. No, that's what I'm saying. What do they do in the States? We don't get time off.
You don't get that time off?
A husband can't take off fucking.
Well, yeah, you have the option. You could do up to 12.
You got to use your own time.
12 months.
You got to use your own time, like your sick time or your fucking, vacation time or something. Get a couple of weeks or something like that. But apparently, there's something in Canada where I think you just said, because I think Moods did it or something.
Yeah, you can. I didn't do it because I gave it all to my wife. But it fucks up the program
for everyone else. That these guys all of a sudden are.
To me, that's life. I mean, that's the job. I mean,
it's easy to say now.
But it's no different than a woman takes a year off. I mean, you fill her role or you don't fill the role. I mean, I don't understand what the difference is. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a role vacant until somebody comes in, and then they can.
I guess the difference being
you're guaranteed a job, but you don't have to. You might not go to get the same job you left. It just has to be equal pay, but you might be moved into a different role. It could be the exact same role. But if they said, shit, we got to fill this role, then it might be something else. You might be doing something else when you come back from maternity leave.
Oh, yeah. I guess it's not like that. They just resume where they were in his company. It's Canadian.
And that's the company.
Whatever.
That's the company's decision. Right. They can figure out how they want to do it.
I hear you.
But yeah, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Just no differently than I think. What is the amount of time you get off for maternity leave in the States?
I just told you, husbands can't get it off.
No, for women.
I
give
honestly
birth.
don't know. I don't remember how much time when I was there, and I don't know how
You could
much it
take off,
pays.
you could take off a month, you could take off up to 16 months, but you get the exact same. What I mean by that is it's 12 months is standard and was the standard, but you don't get paid by your company per se. You have to
Right,
take a leave, and the government pays you 55% of your salary, essentially.
right.
So you get a fraction of your payment while you're off on maternity leave paid by the government. Now, your company, some companies top that up. Nothing, 5%, 10% more. Most
Right.
don't, though. Most don't. Like that's the reality of it. So like if you take 12 months, which is the, like I said, the standard, you'll get X amount of dollars. If you decide to extend that to 16, you're still protected by from your job at work, but you still only get the same amount of money you would have gotten over the 12-month period. It's just
I see.
expanded over the 16 months. Now, the parental portion of that for the other parent is it can't be above that 16-month maximum. So if your wife only wants to take 12 months, you can take the other 14 or excuse me, 4 months
Right.
or some sort of equation thereof. I never took any of it. I gave it all to my wife. I just took some vacation time. I think most people do, but there's been this option now that you can do that. I don't know. I didn't mean to go down this whole rabbit hole, but that is essentially it. I think I've got that all correct. But
It's just a
again, we don't.
strange concept to us because husbands don't get that time off here. So just because he works for the company that's based out of Canada, they can do that. And now, these men can leave, and God bless them. I mean, no one's
Yeah,
mad. No one's mad at the guy for taking the opportunity if he knew it. The anger is directed towards the system and the way it's run. Not so much, people, salute. You want to? I wish I could have done it, but we don't get that option here. So like all of a sudden, because
yeah.
of this guy gets to go away for 4, 5, 6 months on this, and then now everybody else that works, like my brother at his place, they're up in arms because of this one thing happening. You know what I
And,
mean? And
and
that's
again, I could see that no
yeah, it's
differently.
frustrating.
I'm going to tell you, there are probably people that are like, fuck, Doug's off for X amount of time. This fucking sucks and whatever. So be it, though. That's unfortunately the reality of it. You gotta, roll up your fucking
Well, yeah.
sleeves and get the fucking work. But
If
I'm
we
not going to
could,
say people,
but
not everybody's fucking jumping up and down and happy because they know that when somebody's on maternity leave, male, female, whatever, that there's going to
right.
be a lot more fucking work or on them to get done, or people have to fill those roles. We have it at our job or our work now, and it's always going to be that way. I'm talking about there's a amount of time you're allowed to have off. Now, if you want your full pay or full paycheck and whatever like that, then yeah, you take off whatever requisite amount of time you want to take off, and then you go back to work, and then you get your full pay. I'm only going for a month, or only going for 2 months, but you got the option to have 12 months, a full year.
I mean, that is great. I wish I had the time to take off when it was my turn, when Francesco was a baby. I would have taken off 3 months. That would have been wonderful. We don't get that opportunity. So number one, you're
Yeah.
disgruntled about that. And then you're working for a company where this is this and this. And as a result, you have to deal with someone else that gets it. And now, so
Yeah.
you're doubly fucked. When you have a kid, you don't get the time off. and then
So
these
he
people
doesn't get
here,
those because he's American. He doesn't get those perks though, because even though it's a Canadian
right,
company.
correct.
Interesting. Okay.
It's a
I guess it
Canadian
would work the
government
exact
thing.
same way. We
You
would
have to
work
be there.
if we worked for an American
Right.
company, unless we moved to the States, then we're governed. We would still, if we're working here, you still get all the perks of being in Canada
Right.
and being part of that. Again,
Yeah.
I see it. I mean, we went off in a different direction there. I was talking about, paid because there's a price tag for having a baby. One way or the other, there's a price tag in Canada, there's a price tag in the States. It's just we don't see that price tag. I couldn't
Right.
even tell you
It's
what it
great.
costs to deliver a baby. I don't know. We don't even
Oh, I
get
don't
shown
know.
on our insurance form that this would have been 25,000, 15,000 or whatever. We
Yeah.
don't have any of that. We just go get what we have to get done and go.
You know what's
And
fucked up here? They
it's
don't
not a
tell you what
perfect
it is.
system. It's not a perfect system. That's the problem. There's no perfect system, but I'd much rather not be in debt for anything that I health wise than have to worry about how the fuck am I going to pay, because then no one wants to go to the doctor. Now you're
Oh, I go to
lucky
the
because you have health
doctor. I
insurance.
just don't.
You have
Yeah,
health
but
insurance right through work. We've got OHIP, which is the Ontario contingent of our health insurance, or the government plan.
The thing is, people worry about it. You just go and you don't pay. That's the fucking answer. You don't. Well, it's true. You don't.
But they don't demand it on the spot. It's not like you can't leave without.
That's what. Well, that's just it. You're not going to fall into that much of a debt. Like your people are worried about their credit score and this and that. Certain things impact it differently than others. If you can't afford to pay medical bills, you just don't fucking pay them. Life goes on. I mean, yeah, it's going to go on your report, but that's just one thing. I don't know. That's how that's how I look at it. It's I would rather do that. I'm going to pay my, my car note on time, mortgage, whatever. The real important stuff. If you have a credit card, that they monitor this stuff. When something goes to collections, by the time it goes to collections, don't fucking pay nothing. It's a fucking scam. It's a hustle. Yeah. Once it goes into collections, it's not.
It's just someone trying to get money. No, and the person in collections is just they're just trying to get money. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs, everybody, but I'm just saying I know that all they're hired to collect that money, and then a portion of it they buy the debt. So a portion, essentially, they get a commission, and I don't even know if anything goes back to the original party. Right. I think it goes to that company that is hired, and then a good chunk of the commission goes to that person in charge that's calling you on the phone.
People don't realize it. People are so crazy that they get worried about things like that and don't get worried about like the stuff they should. Like somebody passes away, like, because where I work, people come in, they say, oh, my mother just passed away or something. The electric and everything is in their name. The power's in their name. Well, I want to pay these things off and get squared and then put it in my, and I always think to myself, why? I mean, okay, you're being, okay, I shouldn't say why. The reason is because it's the right thing to do. You've used power, you owe money on it, but the person has passed away. They're dead now. Why would you voluntarily try to make things right at that? Just because my opinion is all these companies are gouging everybody as it is. It isn't like it's a blood drive or something. It isn't like it's something where it's a donation or someone that's giving good to the world. It's still a company that's doing things and that are worth a lot of money and that are paying their people a lot of money, which great. I mean, I'm one of them, but I'm just saying, I don't understand why people stress out about something like that to go out of their way to make sure that they've caught up with something like that. I just wouldn't. I would just start over and just put shit under a different name, because you could easily do this.
Dave Zed.
There's so many workarounds. People just don't realize it. They just don't understand. But here's the part: the people that know how to hustle, they hustle their way right through life. Though they do it with everything.
It's checks from everything. It's a full-time job.
Right.
I can't. That time is. No, I can't do that. You're going to have a mental state. Essentially, you've grown up that way, and it's just too much work. It's like, I look at that as work. They might not look at it like, I mean, but it's a grind. Like, I like, don't get me wrong. If I don't have to pay something, I'm not going to pay it. Like, that's just the reality of it. But if most of the time I'm just paying, if I credit card, I'm paying my credit card. That's what it is. I agree with you to a certain extent, but I mean, sometimes it's like trying to beat the system is more work than in some cases. I'm just like,
going to work. I'll tell you what, the thing is this. Well, this is what I'm trying to say. These people, they don't go to work. They collect, they do this, they get grants. I see it all the time because I have it.
How was your MRI? I'm sorry, man. You just went to say you got an MRI and everything's good.
I haven't gotten it yet. I'm going on Friday to get it.
You're going. Sorry. You've scheduled it. Sorry. Yes.
It's scheduled for Friday, so we'll see what happens. But here's the funny thing.
Sorry,
I've been out of work since October. And I'm in work. I haven't been a meter reader since October the 20th. In a manner of speaking, I haven't read a meter, walked the beat, been eligible to do meter reader.
Walk the beat. Awesome.
The beat. So, of course, as soon as I get out, they get like 3 or 4 storms in a row. Tornado, this, that. They even had storms where they went to other freaking areas, got put up in a hotel and sat in a hotel room for 2 days, getting paid time and a half for 24 hours, and not even had to go on to work. Oh, I'm happy for them, but it's just my luck. As soon as I go out, they get 4 storms in a row, basically making what I make now, that wage, but doing nothing, and I'm happy for them. But we didn't get a storm for a while. Then they got 4 in a row. They were always on storm call, everything.
Yeah.
And now
You guys
check
got
this.
slammed.
Now the other day that I was just told Friday that they're all getting a $4 an hour raise. $4 fucking dollars. You know how much we got in the time I've been there? 1% or 2% a year, whatever it is, and ended up being like. Bottom line is, I'm happy for everybody. But as soon as
Well, that's it. I know it's always that way,
always
right?
happens.
Yeah. Well,
and they're only
free
giving them
daycare.
that.
Like we don't even have, I don't even know it's there yet, but they're talking about free daycare or cheap daycare in Ontario. Well, no, we had to pay like our 55 bucks a day daycare back in the day. In Quebec, I believe it's $7 a day or something for daycare. It's really cheap.
Wow.
And whatever that's what they wanted to do in Ontario. Now, some portion of that, again, I'm out of that stage right now, so I don't really know all the ins and outs, but I think something's been passed, but it's not that cheap because there was just no way to subside. Like it's a hefty cost because essentially the government's paying for it. So we're paying for it indirectly. So if you don't have kids, this is what the socialized aspect, like the taxation factor happens in the States too, but just differently, not in the same way.
Well, yeah.
It's just taxes are taxes. It goes to these programs. So ultimately, if you don't have kids, to know that a certain percentage of your taxes are going to fund this program, I could see that frosting your balls. Yeah. But that's just the way sort of it is.
It's the same thing here. You got to pay school tax.
Absolutely. I mean,
so it's like
taxes are taxes. No one likes them. It's just ours are a little heftier in certain areas because of the extra, because of the medicine aspect and everything. Not everything's covered. For instance, you got like a hearing test could possibly be covered depending where you get it from, or you have to pay out of pocket. It just depends. It depends. I got my eyes tested this week. It's been since before COVID. Because I was worried about this, 20/20 vision from, he said, I didn't know, I thought 20/20 was your overall. He's like, you got 20/20 for distance, but everything, I can't see anything, like if it's like right here in front of me, but it's not enough. Like he essentially said, reading glasses. I'm not even at the next level where they think I needed a more like a prescription of something more so. So speaking of which, I didn't pick up my glasses. I was just on Thursday night, and they said they're going to have my glasses. I went and got them because my glasses are covered under my insurance plan at work. I still had to pay a little bit out of pocket, but so I had to pay $90 I had to pay, but because of insurance coverages through work, like benefits through work, majority of that was paid or covered.
No, that's great.
But that would have been out of pocket. So, I mean, there's certain things that are out of pocket still, but then your job benefits might cover it. So just
True. Yeah, who knows?
Anyway, we'll get. I didn't mean to go all the way down this rabbit hole. Just it's a good conversation because I don't know the ins and outs. I just read. Of course, you're reading the extremes on both sides, no differently than politics is where I was going with it initially. Where it's like, oh, you'll have two extremes on the Canadian side and two extremes on the American side, like saying why the American side sucks and the American side's amazing, and the Canadian side says it's amazing, and then the ones that say it sucks. No. It doesn't suck. I would lean towards it's more amazing just because I've never been out of pocket for anything, but it's not. It's got problems. It like anything. It's still got issues. Lovingly, my family, knock on wood, haven't had to face any of those issues directly. It's all been a positive experience for us so far. And people that I've known have had cancer, because then they bring up the cancer situation, and people that have known had cancer have gotten the treatment they needed in a reasonable time frame so far that I'm aware of. I know there's other ones out there that they're having problems or whatever, but majority of the people I know, father-in-law, mother-in-law, whatever it may be, they've had these treatments and it's been fine.
No, that's good. Shit, that's great. No, I mean, it basically sucks here, but there's ways to work around it. There's ways. It depends on who you work for, and what kind of insurance you could get. You got to worry about that. And there's other workarounds. There's always a way to hustle it. Yeah, I know how to hustle certain things, like insurance related and whatnot. I do okay because I live in New York State, and I have something that I'm signed up for. And that's a whole other story. But the thing is, there's one way to hustle. You can hustle this. See, that's what I do. I don't hustle to the point because, number one, I don't want to live in a fucking shitty area. And yeah, I don't want to work. I'll tell you, that's all I need in life to be happy is not have to go to work and be healthy. Obviously, be
Well,
healthy.
then you could probably live in a shitty area and not worry about it, but that's
But I don't want to live in a shitty area. I'm not going to live
exactly.
around that's not that element I want to be around. A low income area like that. There's I've been around them. They're terrible, and there's a lot of shitty people that do shitty things in those areas, and I don't want to be. I wouldn't want to be around it. And that's what people always complain about. Not to get into politics, I'll just stop. I'm just saying people complain about this and this, and it's easy to say, okay, they can live off the government, but do you really call that living? If you could do it too, but you know what? Well, they're going to say, well, I wouldn't do that because I'm not that kind of person. I go, yeah, maybe not. But even if you could, what if you could do it legally, but you had to live in this area and would you do it? They'd probably say, no, I don't want to live there. So it's really not that great. Not that I'm defending, because I see both sides. I see people exploiting it, and I see people from my end that go to work every day, middle-class folks that fucking hate working. But we do it, and we pay taxes. And I could choose not to. I could choose to leech and do other things. But I don't want to live that way. Not because of a moral code, because fuck the government. So I don't mind. It isn't like me being lazy. Oh, sure, I am lazy. But I mean, I'm not lazy to the fact that if you're paying me to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I still don't want to work. I have to work. And I'm not that lazy that my entire life would just be, I would do nothing and not help anybody.
A few people. There's a lot of people that want to work. I'm not saying I don't want to work in the vicinity that I have to do like on a day-to-day basis. If I had the choice, but if I had the choice to make movies as work, that's different. Or whatever, doing that, but I'm not talking about even in the studio system, because what I've come to realize is I don't know if I would do well there. I'd be one of those assholes that want to take my name off everything because it didn't go my way. I almost think like a pseudonym or something like that, or whatever, because I just want to make the shit that I want to make, and I don't want to answer to anybody. You know what I mean? That's a whole different thing too. That's like independent, but being like financially able to do that independently. Like if you won a certain amount in the lottery, you know that you wouldn't work. That what the magic number is. What was it for grafting your cock to your forehead, or what was it like your chin? Or $1 million is just not going to do it. It's great.
I'll tell you what, though.
I'm saying the money is great, but that's not it. I want to make sure that it would be like I don't have to work again. Now you're talking about no orgasms. What would that be like for? Like, well, you wouldn't even. You said not even no orgasms. You can't even get hard. You can't get hard, no orgasms. What would the magic number be? That's difficult because that's a whole lifestyle aspect as well.
Well, I want to have sex. That's the thing. Again, though, now I'm 50. It isn't. It's not as pressing, and I'm married. It isn't as pressing as when I was 20 and 30. It's different. It's a different thing. Now, if I could go back in the past, just like, okay, I've been watching the R. Kelly thing again. Surviving R. Kelly, and a new one just came out, and not new, but it came out in January. And I've been telling my wife for years, you got to watch this. You're not going to believe it. You got to see what the fuck. You're not going to believe it. I thought it was just this. He peed on a girl and he married Aaliyah. That's all I thought it was. I had no idea all this other stuff was. So now I watched it.
I have no clue
years
either,
ago now.
Actually.
Oh, dude, you're not even going to believe it. So anyway, I go into it. I'm telling you.
Like Irene, I don't believe it.
I can't promote it anymore. It's fucking crazy shit. So anyway, I watched it a couple years ago when I was in Binghamton, New York, taking classes for something for work because I'm in a hotel, and I binged it. And I was like, "Holy shit, look at this!" I couldn't wait to get out of that class to have my fucking hands, my eyes,
how many episodes?
Glued to the computer screen. Oh, dude, a lot. Like probably like the first season's probably 6 or 7.
There's more seasons.
Yeah, because more shit. Dude, you don't understand. The first season exposed him. He didn't get in any legal trouble at all. Because they made this first season, stories started coming out. People started finding out, like I did, what a bastard he was and the shit he did. Then lawsuits came in because people saw that and things were brought to light. Then there was season 2 where they're trying to get things done and more are coming out and there's more happening. This is backlash from people that are, these guys are saying free R. Kelly. These guys are saying mute R. Kelly. Everything else. Now we're in season 3. Where he's been since incarcerated. I'm about to get to the last episode because I haven't seen season 3 yet, when they're going to tell you everything. But bottom line is this guy, and I've been telling my wife for years, and she was like, didn't get it. And now she's fucking, we started it on Thursday. Since Thursday, today's Sunday, we're fucking for the 3rd season. We have 1 episode. She couldn't stop watching.
This show's eating into the last episode, is what you're saying? Like
What's
if
that?
we weren't recording right now, you'd be watching the last episode.
Yeah. So now there's one more to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one more to go. So now she's been glued to it, and she goes, like, yeah, you're right. She goes, you kept telling me you got to watch it. I go, I know. Why don't you listen? It took all this time to get her to fucking watch it. And I can't recommend it anymore. But now, granted, it's going to be sensitive for a lot of people that have been through some fucking abuse and whatnot and everything else. Of course, there's a lot of discussion. But the thing is this. See, if you haven't seen it, you're not going to really know what I'm saying. But the thing about sex, he had all these fucking girls, and he had houses with fucking a different woman in every room, and this and this. Now, theoretically, and I told my wife this, I said, if I were him, I would do the same thing, but without the abuse. I would just want, that's all I would do.
What about the piss?
Well, of course, I'm not into the pissing. I'm
so
not into the water sports.
Without
but
the
if
abuse,
I were,
maybe the age factor you might want to adjust the age factor a little bit.
But they're underage, right? True. Yes, that too. Without them, okay, they have to be of age, and I'm not going to abuse them. I'm going to treat them well. So theoretically, it's a great fucking idea.
It's the worst thing to be laughing at, but it's just that you're like, I do the same thing without the abuse. Well, there's a few other factors. You just might want to,
obviously. Well, that's considered abuse, molestation, and underage. It's under the umbrella of abuse. I'm just saying, I would have done it with 20-somethings the whole time, whatever. But I would have had that many women around. I would have had this one, and I would have been flying here and doing this, and I would go in the. He had ideas where he had fucking the studio, and he had a fucking bed in the middle of the studio. He was always wanting to fucking get down with all these women, and he had and they couldn't wait to get with him. So he had them all, again, this is the terrible thing. He had them fucking locked up in rooms where they couldn't come out. They couldn't go to the bathroom unless they asked. They couldn't eat unless they asked. Dude, it was a cult.
Oh, I had no clue this shit was happening.
This is what I'm trying to say. Nobody knows. You got to watch this shit. It's off the fucking wall. So now, but theoretically, like I told my wife, I said, if I would have been young and I had all that money and all that, and I've always said this, the only reason to have a lot of money is to hook up with a lot of chicks. That's what it always was for me. Now I want it for comfort because those days are over, but I like it for comfort at this age so I can actually retire someday and, be able to exhale and fucking not be bugged out about what's going to happen the next day. But that's just survival, I guess. But it's like, but I would have done the same thing as far as having fucking numerous women all over the fuck up. That's all I would do. They were doing this, threesomes, fucking orgies, so much. Again, it's my weak point. I can't help it. That's my addiction. That would have been my addiction. You know what I mean? But okay, so there's that guy. Why did we start on R. Kelly? What led me to even talk about him? I don't know, but I've been watching all this cult stuff too, right? And
I watched that Waco one. Did you watch Waco?
I've watched
American Apocalypse.
That poor bad. Okay, I don't even get me started. They got fucking fucked. What happened in Waco? They weren't going to attack anybody. They went in there. They made them fucking. They attacked them first.
Well,
I'm not saying the guy was
attack
right.
anybody at that particular point in time. They were making fucking assault weapons and everything in there
in defense.
And
what
no
I'm
different.
saying
Like
is,
they were sleeping with kids, and then his wife or that girl that was fucking crazy too. But we think 12 years old is coming of age as an adult. I'm like, this woman's fucked. I'm watching this on the plane. I'm watching this on the plane, and I get my headphones on, and I'm like, did you fuck? I'm like looking around, like I do this a lot. I think I've actually mentioned on this show too. Like I'm expecting everybody else to have been watching what I'm watching, yet it's just in my ears, and I'm watching it here. I'm turning around going, can you believe what this fucking woman just said? That was crazy shit, man. Dude, you could see the crazy. You could see crazy in people's eyes.
Indeed. I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you what I've watched lately. All these documentaries. I go on these kicks sometimes, and I can't even fucking get enough of them. I got to keep searching and more. These are the ones.
American Apocalypse.
Okay, these are the ones I've watched. Let's see. Living with Chucky. Okay. This is what started. Holy Hell. I watched this one called Holy Hell. That was
I'll write that one down.
Yep. Okay.
Holy Hell. What's that about?
Holy Hell. Let me give you the an inside look at West
Altar
Hollywood
Boys?
cult formed by a charismatic teacher in the 80s that eventually imploded. But I'm telling you, very good. And again, the point let me just tell you what they are, and then I'll get to my point. Kidnapped for Christ was another one. Kidnapped for Christ. Jared from Subway, Catching a Monster. Blessed Child. Blessed Child is another one.
Jared from
Join Us. Join Us is another one.
Somebody must fucking hate that that's called Jared from Subway. Like,
huh?
Subway must fucking hate that documentary is called Jared from Subway.
That's what he's known as. What are we going to do? So Jared from Subway, Blessed Child, Join Us, Deliver Us from
6-inch
Evil.
or the 8-inch. I'm so sorry. These jokes are fucking abysmal today, and I going down a dark path.
But these are all about religion and cults, which in most cases are the same thing. Deliver Us from Evil, Join Us, Blessed Child, Kidnapped for Christ.
I love that. I don't know why that name. I got to write that one. Kidnapped for Christ. It's such a stupid fucking name.
I think it's got a good ring to it. Kidnapped for Christ.
Yeah, it's like if you're a band. We're kidnapped for Christ.
That's funny. But what I'm getting to, the reason I wanted to mention them, and because of the R. Kelly thing, now, because that's what happened. I was watching all these documentaries, and we've been watching Seinfeld nonstop, me and the family. And my daughter and wife caught me watching the end of Deliver Us from Evil, which is about a priest that fucking molested for 30 years. So it's talking about that. So my daughter says, I kind of want to keep watching documentaries. And I tell them, I go, listen, these are the documentaries I've been pushing on YouTube for fucking years now. I didn't say fuck, but it was the R. Kelly one. And then there's the other one, the what do you call the Michigan 3 or the what do they call it? Not the Michigan.
Oh yeah. The West
Paradise Lost.
Paradise Lost 1, 2, 3, and then there was another one.
There's 3 of them. There's 4 now. I saw.
No, there's the Paradise Lost movies, and then there's the one that Peter Jackson did, the West Memphis 3. I think it's a separate one. All of those are worth watching.
Oh, they're great. It's some of the best documentaries.
Produced it, I think. Yeah.
So I mentioned them, and then we said, okay, well, let's watch the R. Kelly one. All right, we'll try. And then we got hooked. So now the same thing with the cults. Like almost every time you see something about cults, they always start off so nice. Like the first couple months, and I always watch it, and I'm like, if the asshole that started it didn't become such a narcissist, this could have been the existence that I've always dreamed of. Everybody's just enjoying each other. They have nothing but nice things to say about each other.
You would. You could start a cult. You like the
good, but it wouldn't be a cult. It would be
perfect.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Why can't this is why I believe in some fucking higher power, because it's almost like we're not allowed to live that way. Because every time somebody introduces an idea like that of a utopia and doing things the right way, they turn out to be an asshole. Why can't a nice guy come around?
Your
and say,
utopia was more like a fruitopia. Was that from? That's from The Simpsons.
Sounds like fucking Toucan Sam or something.
No, it was supposed to be Stephen. Oh my God, no, not Stephen King.
Weber,
the guy in the chair that
Hawkins.
asked. Yeah, Stephen Hawking. Thank you. His name, and the best part of that is it's actually Stephen Hawkins guest starring on The Simpsons, which is even better.
Really?
Because they couldn't just get a soundboard.
So wow! So they actually got him to do a voice.
He's in the credits, like Steve Hawkins as himself. But anyway, that's just way back when. I'm derailing everything, but I know what you're saying. But this just puts a big spotlight on the guys. You know that guy that always brings a guitar, whether it be like an outing, and those are the assholes you got to look out for. Like the one that's just sitting beside a campfire and brings out the guitar. He's the one that that's what they start out as, and then there's all of a sudden they want to start a cult. It's the same thing that you're saying. They want sex from everybody.
Why does it have to be a cult? Why can't it just be people getting together and doing their own thing, and everybody contributes? You know what I mean? It's they turn everything off. They go and they live this way, and they're fruitful. And they love each other, and they have compassion. They don't have to worry about government and everything. They handle things their own way.
I think that's what they call a cult. That's where it comes from.
But it can be peaceful. Why does it have to be a cult? Because it's an alternative to the government that we've been given.
Because I think that's just the definition. I'm just saying we automatically associate cult with evil because most of them have been. But you're right. This would be just like a peaceful cult.
I mean, right. Just why can't you just chill? Like they always start off so nice. Why can't one just start off nice and then just stay nice? That's what bothers me. That's what I want. Every time I watch these things, I'm like, man, look, they're all happy, this and that, and everything else, and and that's why they stick with them. Same thing with any abuser. They start off so nice and nice, they groom them, and then they have a self-serving, they have some other, ulterior motive where they go off and they want to be worshipped or something. And it's too bad because I would just start something where there is no leader. You know what I mean? Everyone's together as one. Maybe you get someone has to orchestrate things. I could do that, okay. But I mean, not in a way where you're aggressive or bossy or you think you deserve more. You pitch in just as much as anybody else. That's the existence I'm looking for.
You're gonna start a cult.
I wish I could. If I was younger and in a different position, maybe I could have. Well, because I'm too embedded in life now. You can't just fall off the grid when you got a family and a job and everything else, and here you are. First of all, you got to move someplace else. It's too fucking cold here to live.
Alabama seems to be ripe for the culting.
I don't know, but there's some fucked up shit, and I was watching stuff about all religions and everything else. I watched the Scientology stuff. I watched the Scientology special about the Jehovah's Witnesses. There's all kinds of stuff, and I go on these kicks sometimes. We're talking about just talking trash about basically all religions, and there always is something going on in them where it's like that's pretty bad stuff. It's sad, but I got on this big kick of cults and whatnot, and I've been doing that a lot until I watched the movies for this. But for a while, I mean, that's all I've watched. I'll tell you that Join Us was an interesting one, man. Yeah.
Join Us?
Good. Yeah. Join Us is good. And it's people that are trying to leave the cults and go someplace else. There's like one place in the country you could go and they like deprogram you in a way. They help you come out of it. And the people struggling, some want to go back and everything else. You hear about things and they all say the same things. The people that come out of cults, it's pretty wild shit, man. To hear the stuff that actually goes down. And then R. Kelly stuff, that's another. Whew. Holy shit. You know what?
The Cult of Kelly.
The Cult of Kelly. Well, it's some fucked up shit. Guy could have had it all, man. Guy could have had so much fun. But again, he had fucking evil intent. He wasn't doing anybody any right. And that's I won't even, no. I can't even go down and start talking about that. But all I can say is watch it.
Other than Fly, what other song did he, like, where did he get his fame? I know. He realized this. I thought he sang it, I Think I Can Fly or whatever.
I Believe I Can Fly came out later.
Yeah.
That was like his third or fourth album though.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh yeah. He's got a bunch of stuff, man. He's got a bunch of stuff. And he's got these devoted followers that even after hearing this, they still fucking.
When you're talking about it, I Google and he wrote songs for Michael Jackson in the 90s, it seems. So I guess, and then but I didn't know who he was. I just, from the controversy is where I heard him. And from that, but funny enough, I think I mentioned on the show before, I thought Seal sung that song, I Believe I Could Fly.
Really?
I thought it was Seal for the longest time. And then I Googled it one day and I'm like, it's R. Kelly. Weird.
Yeah.
So I do know an R. Kelly song.
Kissed by a Rose. You know R. Kelly songs. Sure, you can't look him up now because he's freaking canceled. I was gonna say look him up on iTunes; they should all be there, but he should be canceled, as far as I know. But there was tons of songs, man. The Ignition song, Bump and Grind, those songs.
Maybe to hear them, I don't know them by name, but
right.
I'd have to hear them.
Tell you, summertime's coming. You're gonna be listening to what do you call it soon? Fucking Buckner and Garcia. I'm telling you.
Because we were talking about Donkey Kong Jr. So someone mentioned that he's looking forward to some.
I can't wait to put that album
full of quarters, and I'm heading to the arcade.
I love it. I can't wait to listen to that album. It's always nostalgia for me. It's a summertime album now to me because that's when we were talking about it the first time, and I listened to it.
Ode to a Centipede. I just love the ballad. I think I'm going berserk. I think I'm losing my mind.
Oh, shit's great, man. And it's all catchy stuff, you know?
Mousetrap, mousetrap. The cheese was the bait. Won't somebody help me before it's too late? I listened to that album way too many times when I was a kid.
Oh, that's great.
Go, Froggy, go. Gotta
Yeah.
keep on hopping till you get to the top. Go, Froggy, go.
Yeah, it's great. I can't wait to listen to it. As soon as the weather breaks, I'm gonna get on it, man.
Why do you have to wait? Put it on now.
No, it's one of those things. It's like a summer album to me. It's just it's a good mood summer album to me because I didn't have it when I was a kid, but you introduced it to me, and now at the time it must have been summer because I started listening to it that week, and I kept listening to it. I was really into it. And
I thought I had the tape
Yeah.
still, but I can't seem to find it. Like I had that on cassette. So that one I had the cassette tape of that. And yeah, I was a sucker for it. I listened to that way too much.
It's awesome. I love it, man. I've been listening to all this stuff. Well, actually, listening as far as music, it's just been Phish for quite a while now. And now tour started. Spring tour just started a couple of nights ago.
Oh.
So I'll be keeping up with all of that. So that'll be happening. But as far as like iTunes and anything, I haven't really been.
Ramman put a post about an album from a band that I haven't even heard of before, quite frankly, or maybe if I didn't remember, called Trouble. And the album that he put out there, like it's never led me astray. I put it on, fucking fantastic album. So now
Really?
I love that. I love when that happens. Where
Me
now
too.
I've got a whole band that I can go back and like kind of discover, even though they're from the 90s or 2000s, but discover them now and have all this discography to enjoy. It's awesome.
Oh, I'm
I love
intrigued.
that.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it like?
That's the great thing about it was like almost more melodic metal or something. Like it wasn't like when you hear metal, you automatically get an idea in your head, but it was different, which is what separated them from like everybody out there. Like they're not like Lamb of God metal or Pantera. Like you can hear every, like from whatever all the songs I've heard, like you can hear every lyric, like every,
of course,
it's not guttural or anything else. It's really cool. Like, so I'm looking forward to checking out more.
I'm curious. I might do the same.
While you're, let's see if I can. Oh, I can't share it because I keep forgetting that you have to give me permission to share it.
To share what? Oh, so I'll give you permission. It's funny because he introduced me to something too, a band called Elder, and I listened to some of that, and it's interesting. I just didn't get into the vocalist, and that happened. Sometimes that happens with me, and if I can't get into the vocalist, it just happens. He said he had the same problem at first, and it does happen with me. But he compared them I guess they said that they're influenced by Tool and Phish. So I'm like, yeah, they because both those bands can jam in different ways, and they're both talented musicians, both bands, and so is this band Lore. So I was kind of digging on it, but
I don't know why they started in '79, Formation and Metal Years, and then they had a bit of a hiatus. They came back, so I don't even know. I don't even understand how I didn't even know about these guys, to be honest. But doesn't matter. I do now, and it was because, and that's the other thing. I say I'm a metal fan. Like I say, I'm but there are blind spots, like massive blind spots. I would say that I'm probably like a mainstream metal fan. I don't think there's any bands that I'm pulling out of out of the air that like are ones that like most people have heard of. Whereas like true metal, I guess real metal fans have a whole, and Donna Nelly was like when I was going to do that song a day, and he jumped down my throat day one. He says, that's a horrible song by a horrible band or whatever. And he has all these bands that he listens to. I don't even fucking remember, but and all the bands that he listens to, I'm like, that's going down a hole. Like, I don't care. Like, that's just too much down a rabbit hole. Like, I still like Lamb of God, like mainstream, Ghost, all different styles of metal. I still listen to Pantera, Metallica, but most of the ones that I mentioned are going to be more mainstream. So every now and then there will be one that is not as mainstream, but any metalhead would probably know who they are. But something like Trouble, I didn't know about. And so that one, it was who recommended it to. Ram Man, I take his recommendations a little bit more seriously. And again, not that it's just Donanelli shit on it like out of the gate, and I hate that. It's like other horror fans shit on other, I guess it would be like me shitting on Spookies, but it just happened to be one song.
Yeah, but hold on. Stop.
Yeah.
Here's the difference. If somebody puts a post about Spookies up and you see it on your Facebook feed, watching a movie I enjoy and they show like the Blu-ray Spookies, are you going to weigh in and say that's a piece of shit movie, or are you just going to not say anything?
Depends on who. If it was Marco doing it as a joke, yeah, yes. I would, but I wouldn't normally do it. No.
That's what I'm saying, and that's one of the big problems with social media, and that's why I'm fucking off it, except for the extent of going on group pages now. I will not even, if I log in now, I log in and I strictly go into the group pages. And you know what, you can press that group feed, go there, and that's it. I came back a little bit for the feed. I can't even tolerate it anymore. Whatsoever. It's a negative place to be, and I don't want it. But I'll go on the group pages. But that's the thing. People shit on things that people enjoy. And here's another
constantly thing. They shit on it as a way to, it's almost like, I don't even know if it means your taste is horrible or your opinion means nothing to me. I'm right. I don't even know if it's that, but that's how it comes across a lot of times. And sometimes I worry that I've done that too, because we talk
Text is tough.
We talk about it in like very, very passionately, that like I never want to say your opinion means nothing. That's never my intent. I just sometimes I'm boggled that I can't see the enjoyment in it myself. Maybe.
Yeah, but look at it like this.
Like, like The Craft, for instance, like salute that you love it. I can't be like, holy fuck, David. Like, I just was like, I want to love everything. I would love to love everything. Or most things and whatever, just to a degree is exactly it. But sometimes it's just not going to happen. But
yeah, but look at it this way.
I think the passion comes out in one way, and it's different than just saying, oh, you're fucking, that movie's just, your taste is fucking terrible. Fucking get off the show. I mean it.
Well, we wouldn't say that. That's what I'm trying to say. We wouldn't be sitting here having a dialogue. It doesn't matter if it's just you and I and me, or fucking 6 people on a podcast. If we're together and you say to me, even in person, it doesn't matter, on a computer, if you say, hey, you know what song I really like? And then you say, whatever, Twilight Zone by fucking the KLF. Whatever, any fucking random song. Actually, that's wrong. KLF sings fucking 3 AM Eternal. But whatever. If you were to bring up a fucking song, I wouldn't say, oh, geez, that's a shit song from a shit band. I wouldn't say that to you. I would just say, I would either say nothing, or I would say, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's just, if you're not going to say that,
you know what, I didn't like that, but I like this, or that's not my style. Fine. You don't have to, we know we don't all like the same shit. We get it. It's the presentation. I don't even know if Donanelli meant even to come across the way he did.
I'm not picking on him because he
actually seems to be a cool guy. That's exactly it. Like, I don't, I wouldn't, it was, maybe I interpreted it incorrectly, but I was just like, holy fuck, that seemed a little aggressive for like, hey, song of the day or whatever like that. Post from, I don't know, 4 years ago, and it was just like, okay, well, I guess I'm not posting anymore. Like, holy shit. Like, what I'm going to be posting are going to be some mainstream songs or something that maybe it's not as mainstream, but I liked. But I'm
it's
definitely
not really mainstream.
Like from Skullduggery, the band or whatever. I don't even know if that band exists. I'm just pulling out a name.
Probably.
I don't know them. And just because they're metal, it doesn't mean I've listened to, like, I tried to listen to a bunch, but there's just like horror movies. There's a ton, and there's independently done ones. I mean, whatever. I don't have the time for all that. So certain ones I happen to come across by accident, or I'll see a recommendation and I'll check it out.
Right, man. Well, then, and I enjoy a recommend, and I will check things out. I sometimes it works. Honestly, most of the time it doesn't for me. I got to be honest. Most of the time when someone says try this, I do, and there's a reason I don't get into it. But sometimes, fucking Buckner and Garcia, I happen to love it. And so anyway, it does happen of all things, right? But I mean, a lot of times I discover things on my own, and it's because of iTunes. Because if I'm into a band, I kind of deep dive, and they got the recommends, and it'll say similar artists. Do you ever see that when you scroll down to the bottom of? So I'll do that, and I'll go around and I'll play around, and I'll pick a song, and I'll go similar artists, and I'll try to see what they are, and I'll read reviews, and then I'll do something. So everything I do, I kind of, just like when I make a purchase online, I check things out first before I just blindly jump into. Some people say I'm making a much ado about nothing. Why not just press play and see if you like it or not? And sometimes I do, but I also like to get a little background as well. But that's just me, because you can't listen to everything, and it's hard. Like even now, I got all my stuff, and now I'm listening to so much Fish. It's crazy, but that's the kick I get into. But now it's like, this is the thing about now, and I don't say what you're saying is mainstream. There's nothing mainstream about fucking Lamb of God. They may be well known to metalheads, but they're not a mainstream band. Mainstream to me is fucking top 40 and shit like that. This isn't top 40 music. This isn't fucking stuff that's usually on the radio. But I don't like, it's the same fucking attitude. It's the where people only want to watch low budget fucking horror movies, exploitation stuff, and whatever, and they want to shit on anything that comes to theaters like The Conjuring or something like that. It's a fucking, it's a rebellious FU attitude, which I appreciate, but not just for the fact of being rebellious, just to do it, just to say fuck you to everybody else. It's, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like hipster shit. It's like fucking well, you listen to this, this, and this. What?
Sorry, I was just going to add on. Isn't it the same thing with the Metallica or Kate Bush? Their songs being used in Stranger Things, and they have this whole new introduction to a fan base that wants to check out their music, and it's like us old, not me personally, but the older demographic. It's like, oh, you fucking idiots! Like, I've been a fan since back in the '80s, and like, what? So what? So now they're a fan now. Like, why is that a bad thing? And I've always hated that mentality. Oh, horror fans do get their backs up a little bit, because when mainstream come in, it's almost like, fuck you, you like, you think we're freaks or whatever like that. And then now all of a sudden you're embracing it. There is a little bit of that in our community as well.
I get it.
And I can understand that to a certain degree, depending on your school or where you went to, and maybe how you're treated by maybe loving the genre, and people thinking you're fucking, like, a little cuckoo for doing so. But I mean, I never, even though I was the horror freak when I was a kid, no one ever treated me like shit or whatever, but I know people have been. So I could see that maybe being part of it, but I'm not talking about that. It's mostly people that gravitate towards music, movies, or whatever, and hate it when it becomes popular.
Well, I'm saying that, but a lot of times they hate on something that's popular. But at the same time, they won't like anything the other way. Popular. They're like, okay, my favorite band is fucking Five Chord Gestures from Tennessee. Some fucking random fucking punk band, or some band that nobody's heard of, or very few people. It's a niche audience. And just because it's small and fucking a niche audience and stuff like that, they think that it's fucking superior, that everything else is fucking, oh, those guys are just fucking following along with the fucking, with the system. Because, I'm as fucking anti the system is fucking anybody, but I don't let it cloud myself, or I'm not going to enjoy something that I think is good. I listen to something. I don't care if you made it, or if fucking James Hetfield made it, or fucking Eminem. I don't care who made it. If you put a song, just like a movie, I don't care who the director is or not. If I listen to it and I enjoy it, I enjoy it. And that's it. And that's all. But some people have to be that hipster fucking thing. Oh, well, these are my top 5 favorite bands, and you've never heard of any of them. And I'm not saying they don't love them, and that's fine. But it's almost like they do it to be more fucking. Horror fans as a whole are already fucking, I don't want to say ostracized, but we're already a niche audience. So why do you want to oppose fellow fucking horror fans because this guy likes Metallica and Slayer, who are considered quote unquote mainstream, and you like fucking Five Chord Gestures? Or, okay, well, fuck that shit. This is the fucking real, or whatever. It's just, don't weigh in and fucking give me your negativity, and they have to always talk about your independent. It's the same thing with independent horror movies, that people will only watch them, and they want to say F you to anything else that has fucking, it's just, I don't know. And honestly, again, the causation is social media. It's the fucking
it
worst
really
thing
is.
going. I'm telling, and I
It
realize
is
it
from
even
that.
more
I mean, it's like for
watching.
contact, some of the stuff that we're talking about when we're talking about dealing with our community, that's fantastic.
Well, it's
But
great.
there's so much negativity that comes, that also comes with, not there, but just from other avenues of social media.
I wish we had more stuff on our pages. We could talk to other people. And maybe I should start promoting stuff more and trying to get more going there, because that's what I like to talk about. And that's who I like to talk to. I mean, that's better. I don't want to go on, but it's like I'm watching this R. Kelly stuff, and these women that are on there are being fucking dragged through the mud, right?
Yeah.
By everybody on Twitter, and they're acting like it's all such a big deal. Oh, I had to come in here and fucking and defend my and say more. How come everyone's attacking? And I keep telling my wife, the answer to all of this is stay the fuck off Twitter. If Twitter didn't exist, you wouldn't have to feel the feelings you have right now, because people are calling you a gold digger and a liar. Strangers are motherfucking you online because they watch Surviving R. Kelly and they're R. Kelly fans and they don't want to believe this stuff and they're opposed to it. If you never paid any attention to that, why should life in 2023 be about what people on a fucking global fucking internet are saying about you? You've never even met them. And they're strangers to you, most of them. Imagine if you just shut all that off of your life. It's fucking bad for you. And I tell my wife, she goes, well, unfortunately, I have to do it for work for a couple of things. I go, I get that. That's fine. That is fine. But nobody's forcing you to go to any of these places and having to see any, like, look at it this way. You have an athlete. There's a bunch of different athletes. Let's say the NFL. A lot of NFL athletes go on Twitter and they engage, and they don't like fucking when people critique stuff and they fight back and this and that. Then you probably have some other athletes that don't go to Twitter at all, don't give a fuck what the fans say or the people that don't like them say, and just carry on life the same way they would have in the 70s or the 80s or the 90s. Why? Because now, when it's 2023, do people feel they have to be subjected to that and have to participate? When are people going to stand up and realize?
Because it's a fan base thing now. I know, but it's like a fan base. Like I couldn't imagine, imagine being a stand-up comic now. Like, the way you have to almost do it is by putting out reels or putting out like a set or engaging on the social media platform. It's because that's become the best way to advertise and to get you out there. There's certain things that are good about it, but imagine what happened to good old days of just coming up with your own set and come see me at the fucking place down the street now. I kind of missed that. Like, now they got their whole fucking set online, but it's not really, all it is snippets from an actual show they've done. But I don't know. It seems like it's a whole different ball game now, or people have to come up with jokes every day and whatever. Why can't it just be like, I come see you and support you if I want to?
That's all. Just advertise a little bit and don't read. And matter of fact, shut comments off. Or turn off notifications for yourself. If you're that concerned about it and you don't want, and you're really worried about what the feedback, what do you think would have happened to Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy and George Carlin and all those guys had they been around and social media was around? Do you think it would have changed their fucking act? Why should it? They're still gonna have money and they're still gonna have a following. Why waste any of your fucking precious free time? That, let's face it, you're rich now. You should be able to enjoy your free time. You should be able to maximize your free time as opposed to fucking sitting in front of a computer. You're doing the same thing that fucking Joe Blow is doing in his mother's basement right now on keyboards. The only difference is your house is bigger and your room is bigger. Is that really what your existence should be?
When I was younger, I think I said that I would have wanted fame or whatever. And then you mentioned on the show, you said, I would like to be rich, but I would hate fame. And I've never forgotten that. Not that I've never thought of it
except for
on my own, but you bring it like that. Well, yeah, I guess, at a certain age that could help too. But the reality would be that I think I agree in the sense of like, I would rather just be, imagine you have the money, but you can actually go and do things without fucking being surrounded or bombarded with people fucking constantly. And the second you don't want to talk to somebody, you're an asshole. Like it just, that sucks. Right. I would hate that. And I know I would be like, if I got famous for whatever, I know I would be an asshole. I know I'd be nice to I know I'd be nice to certain people, but my asshole element would overshine, because what would end up happening is everybody you're being nice to will never be documented other than like, oh, I met him once. He's a nice guy. The second I'm talking about my level of assholiness when it happens will be so epic that it will be all over. I'm not going to be pissing on somebody and have a documentary after me, but I'm talking about I'll probably lose it on somebody because I'm like, just give me my fucking space, or I grab someone's camera and throw it down, because I don't want that in my face constantly. And that's the trade-off. We say, well, that's the trade-off for wanting to be famous. But why should that be the trade-off? Why can't it be like, yeah, okay, you know me from TV. Nice to see you. Now let me go on my fucking way.
Yeah, I feel you. See,
I'm not famous, so it doesn't matter. But I know me. Oh, yeah. I say I'd be nice, I'll be cordial, and then I'll hit the breaking point. And once I'm at that breaking point, it'll be like, get the fuck out of my way.
I'd be so high all the time, I wouldn't give a fuck. I'd be like my high, happy, fucking smiling self. Because when
then maybe that will be the key.
Nothing bothers me. I just be fucking taking edibles and going everywhere I go and fucking, what's up, man? And chilling, whatever.
I have no clue how this came up in my mind when we were talking about things, because it had nothing to do with anything we spoke about. But I don't remember who recommended this show to me. It was before we podcasted, though. So this is well before the podcast, but I don't know if it was a buddy of mine or if it was just on the interwebs and someone mentioned it, but it's from the early 2000s or mid 2000s, I guess. And I think that most horror fans would dig it. It's not straight out horror by any means. It's more of a parody of 80s TV and sci-fi and stuff, but it's called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. I think I'm saying his name right. Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. I like a 6-episode series, maybe 8-episode. If I'm going on, maybe I can bring it up.
Dark Place, huh? Garth Marenghi?
Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
I'm gonna see about this now. I'm curious.
And
all right.
It says horror parody, actually. It's actually describing it as horror parody.
Huh.
Yeah, it started back in 2004. So I just remember that. I want to check it out again. I remember watching this. Now, I didn't see it back in 2004. I saw it, I think, in 2012 or 13. But it was before we did this show.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm almost positive it was before we did this show, because it was when I first started traveling for work, which was 2 years before we started doing the show.
Right on.
As opposed to just going to just working out of the fucking building constantly. And anyway, it's funny, but it's intelligent funny if you like where it's almost like it's mocking Doctor Who, but a lot of other things as well, but in a good way. It's well written for sure.
Right on. I don't know anything about Doctor Who. I tried to watch it once or twice. It was so boring to me that I couldn't even. Sorry, Whoites. They probably got a name. I just.
What did you call them?
I call them Whoites. I don't know. Hoosiers? I don't fucking know.
Yes, it was 6 episodes. 6 episodes. So and the episodes might give you an idea of what you're going to experience. Once Upon a Beginning. Hell,
where can you watch it?
I'll find out next. Skipper of the Eye Child.
If we can't watch it, don't tell me.
The Apes of Wrath, Scotch Mist, and the Creepy Moss from the shores of Shaggoth.
Okay.
So let me see.
How about the Gapes of Wrath? Did you ever see that one?
No, but I could just imagine what that might be.
I don't know if it exists, but if not, it should.
Let me see if it's on YouTube first and foremost. Because
the Gapes of Wrath.
Well, episode 1's on YouTube. Full series.
Oh, cool.
It looks like it's on YouTube.
For free?
For free.
Fucking A. Rock on. All right. YouTube for free. Gotta love it.
Yeah, if you haven't, I guarantee, I think would have seen this for sure. Jamie and Brian. For some reason, it screams
They're
even
two
more.
bites.
It seems more like Brian than Jamie for whatever reason this time. But I would
Yeah,
feel like
okay.
they've seen it.
They probably have. They are two bites. That's for sure. I just made another phrase.
Are they who bites?
Who bites? Who bites should be like a fucking candy or a cookie that comes around Christmas time. Like for fucking, you know why Christmas time? Because of fucking Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
Whoville. Who bites?
I'm gonna grab coffee. You keep everybody entertained. I got to get more coffee.
I talk about who bites and fucking who bites. It's like a question. Who bites? You know. I'm coming up with all kinds of titles for different things. Two bites. I think two bites isn't so bad. I mean, the Who Bites was kind of weak, but I think BC likes Doctor Who. So let me know what they call the fans. Who, man, I'm usually decent at coming up with like titles for something like that. You know, Whoies. No, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so here's something interesting. Back to the music gig. A week ago, Sunday, Francesca comes to me. Actually, I should probably save this for fucking C because he'd appreciate the music thing because, you know, he gets it. But yeah, I'll wait a minute on that. So anyway, yeah, 2 bites. There you go. But I'm going to check this thing out here. Oh, you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you all the way. With these things in, I can hear you all the way upstairs. So
right the fuck on. Okay.
We can talk about music now.
All right, so check this out. A week ago, it's Sunday. We're getting ready to go to my mother's, and Francesca comes out to me and she's like, "Hey," she goes, you know who Suicidal Tendencies is, right? I said, "Of course." And she goes, "Do you like them?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I love them." I said, "I have fucking almost every album." And I started going off and iTunes. I go, "Why?" She goes, "I'm really getting into them." And she goes, I go, "Really?"
Wow.
I go, "What do you like?" And she goes, "Institutionalized, Subliminal." So she's talking first album. And I say, "Great, I'm happy to hear this." So I'm like, "Okay." I said, "I'm going to play." I go, "Their first album is fucking legendary." I said, "Let's listen to the first album." You know what I mean? Just that on the drive to my mother's, on the drive back. So we probably heard the first half, you know, of the album there and back. So now we start talking about it. She goes, "Yeah, I like music like this." Then she starts talking about stuff. We start having conversations about music. She goes, "Yeah, I need new stuff and everything else." And she goes, "I'm running out of stuff." And I'm like, "Well, you come to the right place." So I decided, I said, I'm going to come up with 5 albums that I'm going to recommend to you. And I want you to listen to them. And I want you to get back and tell me what you think. You don't have to listen to them all in full. Just if you listen to a couple tracks and decide it's just not your type of thing, so be it. You move on, you know. But I'm curious to know. But then she tells me she likes death metal. She mentions like Cannibal Corpse, and I go, "Well,
wow,
I don't like Cannibal Corpse.
I tried them.
Because
I didn't like them either.
I don't like the vocal. I want to understand the vocalist. I don't like the growl. That's why I like Lamb of God, because you can just understand what he's saying still while having the growl.
I agree. I totally agree with you. Sorry.
Right? No, that's so I go, okay. Yeah. So we're gonna do this. And she says a lot of times I don't listen to lyrics, I just listen to music. And sometimes that just does it for her. So now I'm thinking about the music of the Suicidal first album and some of the lyrics. And she says she liked death metal. So I'm trying to come up with 5 things. So yesterday,
tell her to listen to Death, the band Death.
Well, eventually, I want her to listen.
She likes Cannibal Corpse. I mean, and tell her to like. She probably would like Death.
Scream bloody gore. Yes, I know. I I remember the first time we saw that tape at the mall.
Leprosy is the one I remember.
That was their second album. Yes.
Yeah.
We bought fucking Death, Scream bloody gore, as a joke, because what a ridiculous name for a band. And the Regurgitating Guts was the name of a song and something else. So we just bought it for fun because there was only so many cassettes back then. And then we put the album in and we got home, listened to it, and fucking the first words are die or something. Anyway, so that was like a joke with me and my friends for years, Death, that band. But anyway, I don't listen to Death. So I'm trying to pass music on to her that I like. You know what I mean? So Death wasn't a recommendation. These are the 5 albums based on this. Now, keep in mind, Suicidal Tendencies, self-titled. Think about that kind of music and think about what she said about death metal. So I said, okay, I want to play around a little bit. I'm going to give you 5 albums to listen to. So I did give her a Lamb of God. what is it? The one album, Ashes of the Wake, which is my favorite one.
Yeah.
So I said Ashes of the Wake. And I grabbed her phone yesterday and I grabbed her iTunes and I added these 5 albums. So Ashes of the Wake, I put that on there. Rain in Blood, fucking Slayer. I want to see what she's gonna think about that album.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't love that? That loves fucking
so far so good
shit. You know, but then Matt, keep in mind it's Suicidal Tendency, so I want to keep it kind of close to that as well. So then I put in SOD. You know them, right?
Yeah. Stormtroopers of Destruction.
Stormtroopers of Death. Yep.
Of Death. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, no, good idea. No, but you're onto something because their second
MOD.
band, MOD was Method of Destruction.
That's what. Yeah.
Band.
I combine. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But SOD was harder, and I just think she might be into the actual, because she says she likes listening to the music. So I'm thinking of all the fucking the grooves on that. You know, fucking SOD. So I give her that. Speak English or Die. That's that fucking album. Great fucking album. Then I give her Sex Pistols. Never Mind the Bollocks, of course. If you're talking about punk, because it's basically the first fucking, you know, the first Suicidal Tendencies album.
I have it on here.
Punk.
I still listen to it. I love it.
Oh, it's fucking amazing. I listen to all of. Well, I don't like their second album that much, Join the Army, but I like.
I've only listened to this one. Really, I never, because they really. Serious? Yeah, I never. Well, I'm not saying I never have. I never have any of their songs from anything else on other than, Never Mind the Bollocks.
Oh, Sex Pistols. I thought you were talking about fucking Suicidal.
That's because that's all they have. But like, because
for the most part,
the Sex Pistols, like, I mean, other than, and even Sid Vicious, for whatever reason, My Way always gets talked about as being like the Sex Pistols. Well, really, it's not.
Not really.
But anyway.
Right. But it's Sid Vicious, and he only did so much. He was laying around for a short time. But anyway, so yeah, Never Mind the Bollocks, of course, which is just fucking great beginning. And to me, it's the quintessential fucking punk album. And talk about vocalists. Johnny Rotten is the best, in my opinion. That is a punk vocalist. Everything about his fucking vocals on that album is top notch, you know? So that was the 4th album. And then the 5th would be, the Misfits collection, the first one, with all the fucking old Misfits song on it. It starts off with She and Hollywood Babylon and whatever that I used to call it. It used to be called Plan 9 when it was on cassette. Now that it's on iTunes, it's called Misfits Collection 1 and 2, and that's basically Collection 1. So I gave her those 5.
Say.
Yeah, Green Hell, yes. Fucking great shit. Or Last Caress. That's correct.
She might just like Danzig. She might just dig.
Well, see, I can't start with Danzig because that doesn't sound enough like Suicidal Tendencies and death metal. So if she likes the Misfits,
yes, I get it.
If she comes back and the feedback is, yeah, I like the Misfits, then I'll say, okay, listen to the first couple Danzig albums. You know, 1, 2, maybe. And
what about Infectious Grooves? Even though it's not like,
we're getting there, right? That's what I'm saying. I want to hear more of. But again, she's only heard the first Suicidal. She has to listen to the fucking, you know, the 3rd and the 4th and see, because they evolve into thrash metal. They start punkish and they evolve into thrashy shit. And Infectious Grooves is like half thrashy, half fucking, what would you want to call it? Groovy fucking, I don't want to say ska, but I don't even know Infectious Grooves. How do you even categorize it? I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, I know. To be honest, I haven't listened in ages. I think I listened when we brought them up on the show the last time, which was a while ago. I think I went to Apple Music and I'm like, because I hadn't. It's one of the band that I had albums from, not Infectious Grooves. Sorry, I had Tendency albums, but Infectious Grooves, girl that I went to school with, loved them. And so then I listened to them then. So then I'm like, I haven't listened to them in a long time too. But yeah, it's different. It's not like again, if she likes him, then check it. Then she can check him out.
Yeah. If you like him, that's what it is.
It's really
like fucking listening to Mr. Bungle. If you like Faith No More, you go on to his other shit. And if you like fucking Maynard Keenan,
buddy loved Mr. Bungle.
You go on to his side project. Who does your buddy love?
No, he liked Mr. Bungle a lot.
Oh, right. Yeah.
At the time,
yeah, that's some good shit.
Not so many more, but yeah.
No, that's some good shit. But I'm excited to hear when she gets back to me, what she's going to say about these things. Because maybe I got to, she does have some similar taste to me. So I'm finding out more and more. And now she's at that age too, where maybe she's going to get into lyrics.
Raymond's into metal, so you should see if there's any different ones. But yeah, it's a style, because metal has so many variants that you're just kind of like, if she wants that,
I don't know. I can't see her sticking with that. Maybe though. Maybe. I don't know. I could never get into it. I wish I could have. It just
I could do I have to have something to grasp onto, and like, and just the fast playing instrument, sometimes it's just not enough when that comes in. And I guess it's supposed to be its own instrument and whatever, and there are lyrics, but I want to be able to hear them, I guess, and understand.
Agreed. You know who else was great, but only for 2 albums? Because before and after he was growling and sounded like Cookie Monster, and I want to add this to fucking her thing right now. Creator, Extreme Aggressions. Great fucking album, start to finish. His voice on Extreme Aggressions, again, it was perfect for fucking death metal thrash. It was
Cradle of Filth.
What's that?
Cradle of Filth.
I need to listen to more Cradle of Filth, but I'm thinking of vocalists that I can understand. If he's one of them too, then that's awesome. But the guy for Creator, he was fucking great. Extreme. You could understand what he was saying. And he had that high-pitched fucking, it was very unusual, but it's weird. He only sang that way on Extreme Aggressions, and I want to say Coma of Souls might have been the other. I can't remember. There was 2, maybe 3 albums. They probably got like 8 albums, maybe more. But before that, his voice wasn't like that. It was deeper. And then after that, he started sounding like Cookie Monster. And I was like, oh, it was so disappointing.
Cookie.
I'm telling you.
I kind of had something in sorry, I have like music just started blaring through. It has a connection to one of our movies tonight.
Music, well, yeah, shit.
Cookie.
Music definitely is. Cookie. That's right. Cookie. For sure. Oh, damn. One more thing about music. I've been wanting to talk about this for so long. The fucking Wee Wee Marie connection. Back to the fucking X and fucking Pearl thing. Now I briefly mentioned it way back fucking last year, and one more tie-in with fucking Pearl and X, which I thought was really cool. Do you remember? She goes to the movies in Pearl, okay, and she goes and she looks on the stage, and it's the girls dancing like fucking La Cage aux Folles, whatever the fuck that stuff it's called. Well, the song. Yeah, the song is Wee Wee Marie. And hold on, I want to play it for a second. How about that though? You see, Mia's gonna be in a fucking
if I hear this music through the microphone, I'm gonna fucking go insane.
You shouldn't. You should hear it through the microphone.
Well, just like you should have heard the music for the movie earlier.
Oh, well, this is a good test. I wanted to play.
Did you see that? You see how I got right back where I was aggressive? Like, that's all it takes. I just have to put my mindset back to that moment in time, and I'm right back there with that same anger.
All right, get ready. She looked just like a kitty cat. Okay, hold on a minute.
Well, while you get this, hold on. While you get this, 2 things to correct. I said Jeff Burr as a comedian last episode when I meant Bill Burr.
Oh,
because I don't know who Jeff Burr is. Jeff Burr is the director of Leatherface, I think, but that's not who I meant. I meant Bill Burr, the comedian, when we're talking about being idle at 75 or idle at 77 in Rage. Because she's like, why do you go from 0 to 100? He's like, I idle at 77. So that's Bill Burr. And you did say The Wish. And I'm like, The Wish? You're like, the witch. What am I talking about? The Witch. But if you actually listen to the show, you say The Wish.
The Wish.
I guess you're like me. You're just talking. You're talking fast. And you're just like The Wish. And I'm like, The Wish? And then you get mad at me for thinking I heard The Wish, which is clearly said The Wish.
Wow. I said The Wish? Holy fuck. I wish I were a fish. Did you ever, know that song?
No. Well, I probably, again, where is it from?
It's from a Disney movie starring Don Knotts, and it was called The Incredible Mr. Limpet. And he jumps in the water and becomes a fish, and he's a cartoon fish swimming underwater.
But it's a live action movie otherwise?
It's a live action movie. It's one of those Disney things where it's half live action,
Pete's
half
Dragon or whatever.
animated. Yeah. In the beginning, he sings, he wants to be a fish. And that's the song. I wish.
Yeah, I don't
wish
remember.
I were a fish. Oh, okay, well, either way. No, it's okay. I just want to know if you knew the song.
Yeah, no.
The Incredible. How about Gus? Did you ever see that movie Gus back in the day? It's about a donkey that kicked fucking field goals for football.
No.
It's a Disney movie.
Thank God I didn't see that one.
How about the Cat from Outer Space? Did you ever see that one? Okay.
No.
Well, what good are you? Okay, forget it.
Those are pieces of shit. No, I'm just kidding.
Right? Pieces of shit. And you look like a bucket of shit. How about that one? You know what movie that's from?
I don't. Nothing but trouble. I don't know. I'm just
no. Oh, okay.
Neighbors.
I'm going to tell you something, and you're going to know, but because I'm going to give it away. But he goes, "What? I've never noticed it before. Your Majesty, you look like the piss boy, and you look like a bucket of shit." He tells him. No,
Coming to America. I don't know.
No. History of the World Part 1.
I can't believe. No, I don't know that one. Yeah, I don't. I know that. I didn't know that.
You know the movie,
line, though. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
God gave us these 15, these 10 commandments.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
That's genius. That's genius writing right there.
Yes, it is. Yeah, great. Okay. Wee Marie.
I gotta watch it. You look like a bucket of shit. It's pretty funny too.
Yeah, you look like the piss boy, and you look like a bucket of shit. He tells her it's great. Okay, let's see if you hear it. Oh, what happened? Okay, hold on. Probably a commercial. Sorry.
Oh, here we go. No, here we go.
Every time with the commercial, what are you gonna do? They can't be escaped unless you want to pay $10 a month. Tell you what, at the rate I'm using YouTube now, because anytime I used to go on social media, I'm going on YouTube now instead. So it's taken over. But anyway, let's see.
See, I can't hear it. It's canceling it out. Zoom is canceling out the music.
Oh.
See, music is a frequency.
Hold on.
It's not recognized. And you're getting that same morning I did, right? Are you playing music?
You got to share it. You have to share it.
That's crazy. It recognizes when music's being played and automatically samples it out. That's why you're looking at me like I was fucking crazy earlier as I'm playing music. Oh my God, this is off the fucking. Why is it when I'm here I'm yelling, but when I'm here,
so we can't play music through it. It says something about. Well, there's a way we could do it. But original sound. Zoom optimized auto recommended for most users. Hold on. Let's try original sound for musicians and see what happens. Let's try it now. This could be the answer.
I did that. That's what I did earlier. Guaranteed.
Oh. He met a girl by chance.
Hear it?
With the naughty glance.
Yep.
Like a kitty cat, he loved to dance and play. So he learned no French, but he left the
okay. Wee Marie.
Sorry.
Okay. So Wee Marie is the song that they're playing on the fucking screen. And I know this because I watched it, and that one lyric, I was walking around singing it for fucking weeks. I don't know why. It just fucking was in my head when he goes, she looked just like a kitty cat. She loved to dance and play. Anyway, I like that lyric. So now
I like that lyric.
I'm watching Pearl. Pardon me. I'm watching X after I've watched Pearl like 3 times in a row. And at the end of after she kills everybody in X and she's driving away, this song starts playing. Hold on. How do you spell we? O-U-I-E, right?
In French? Yeah. O-U-I.
O-U-I? Okay, sorry.
We.
Marie. O-U-I. O-U-I. There it is. Wee Marie. This is the cover. Listen. Obviously.
I can't hear it again.
No,
it did the same thing. Yeah, this is exactly what happened. At least we figured it out. Like you have to optimize it for music each and every time. Like that's
Yeah, but
fucking crazy.
I kept it on there. Maybe go off and go back on. Let's see. Try that, and then try original sound for musicians, and try this again. Tell me if you hear this.
No.
No? Oh, well. Oh, well.
So now it's coming out. Now it's something happened and no. It stopped
No?
again.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you get the idea. Let me put it back to fucking optimized audio.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
Yeah.
Fucking thing.
Anyway, at the end of X, after she kills her, the slowed down version, it's acoustic and it's very, I can't even describe it. It's really mellow, but it's completely different. It's, poor Johnny girl, haunting fucking vocals. But anyway, when I heard them say, look like a kitty cat, and Frankie is here, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta go? Yeah. Oh, well then go. She just came down. She says
hi and bye.
Hello. Yeah, right. Hi and bye. Christian says hi and bye. So what can you do? Oh, Frankie. There's something I wanted to play for you. Hold on, tell me when you hear it. Because I can't tell if it's in here or not.
I don't hear anything.
Can you hear that, or is it just coming through here?
Probably coming through there. I don't hear it.
Nothing?
No. Is it in your ear? Is it in your earphones? Take out your disconnect from here.
So what you thought was happening to me is happening to you.
I can usually hear it.
No,
You're too old for technology.
Oh, wait.
No. You heard that?
Yeah.
What is it?
It was
the
just like a
frequency.
beep.
It was a beep?
Yeah, I was like looking for like a split.
Oh, that one.
Stop.
I've realized
Even-
what's happening now.
That hurts.
You're doing the frequencies. See, that's what my wife does. She goes crazy. It drives her nuts. It's beautiful. Whenever
It's the
she's
dog
acting
whistle.
up, whenever she's acting up,
That
you
hurts.
just dog
Wasn't
whistle.
expecting
Yeah.
that.
Christian says, whenever you're acting up, I should play it. The dog whistle. You
It's
cause
so
trouble.
loud. It hurts.
I'm going to start playing it anytime you do something wrong. That's going to be your new grounding. Here you go. Oh, you didn't put away the dishes?
Looks like it's dog whistle for you for the next half
Yep.
hour.
Dog whistle, honey.
It's like from Halloween, like where they had like the mask on or whatever in front of the TV. That's how it'd be when the dog. was-
Yeah.
Halloween 3, right? Snakes come out. Awesome. Oh, hey, did you listen to any of the songs or no?
No, I'm willing to sing.
Okay. Well, I was talking about it. I know you're busy. I got to add one more album to it, by the way.
I'll use my phone. I'm just trying to fold my clothes before Mom screams at me.
No, go ahead. Do your thing. See ya. Okay. All right. It's funny because I tried to masquerade it as that. So she would think that's what I was doing, but I was playing the dog whistle thing. But she didn't hear it for like the first 20, 30 seconds. There was only right before the real loud one that I could hear. She heard the one right before that I couldn't hear.
Yeah. Well, the soundtrack for the French Connection 2 is on YouTube. However, as we were going through this fucking routine here, I can't find it because it's at the end of the movie. It's like the last 3 minutes of the movie when I'm watching the movie. But when I look at the soundtrack, I did the last 2 tracks and I can't seem to locate those cues that sound exactly like Friday the 13th Part 2 or 3. It's it's definitely Harry Manfredini. Looks like he was inspired by it.
Wow.
Not the same cue, like not the exact same score, obviously, but very similar cues.
Wee wee?
Wee.
Wee wee?
Yeah.
How crazy is that? That is from the same movie. And I was just talking about it. What are the odds that would happen? I was talking about Wee Wee Marie, right? Okay. I talked right before we did it. I gave you the line from the Piss Boy. You look like a bucket of shit. Well, guess what? In History of the World Part 1, that's what the Piss Boy says to the fucking other guy, Harvey Korman, when he's asking him if he has to go pee, because they're French, so they make the joke. But he walks up to him and he goes, "Oh, oui," and he goes, "Oui, oui." He says, you gotta go pee, but oui, oui. But how fucked up is that? Seriously,
that is fucked up.
Wee Marie and Wee Wee from that movie. Wow, that's weird.
And I didn't talk
know.
about the Nightmare sequels yet again. I thought, oh, we
I
have
know.
plenty of time. I looked when we were 40 minutes in, and now we've talked another hour and 10 since then, and I still didn't bring it up, but that's fine. Another show. I'll do it right now because we have 2 movies to discuss. Although, to be honest,
Do it.
I don't know if we're going to be able to, like, there's only so much. We're essentially, like every Dario Argento movie, I'll make the joke later again. He remakes the same movie over and over again. It's the fucking. But anyway, here it is. Friday Nightmare on Elm Street 2, I always used to think was on the weaker end of the sequels. I really dig it. I enjoyed it when we did the franchise. I always watch it. I never leave it out. I always watch it. Freddy's scary. It's got a decent pace, even though I find it goes a little wonky, like where he's going to the S&M bar, showing up back at the gym. It's just, that's all weird. Is it a dream? Is it reality? I guess it's reality. And then because the teacher does die and everything. So there's some weirdness there, of course, but Freddy is still fucking scary. And that he's got some good lines, but he's still scary. And it still moves along quite nicely. But three, of course, what could you say? Comfort movie. Dream Warriors is always a great watch. I will say, though, watching it this time, maybe it's because I was high, I don't know, but Nancy was, I see exactly what Jerry Herring is saying sometimes.
Really?
She's very difficult. Like, some of the way she delivers the dialogue in that movie. I've watched this movie dozens upon dozens of times. Like, I've seen it so many times. This is the time where I'm like, wow, she just can't deliver a line to save her life. And like, everything just seemed unbelievable from her. Everybody else around her is decent. She just came across a little bit, like, I noticed it this time. Funny enough.
Wow.
Like, it was just there. Part 4, loved it. I loved it when I first saw it. Always liked it. Then I always ranked it. Like, I've never had a problem. I've always been decent on it, but it's so fun. It's fast paced. It's good. And you know what? Where I used to have the problem of, oh my God, they killed Joey and fucking Kincaid so fucking early. Really, it's that's the first act, is getting rid of the Dream Warriors. Like, when you think about it, you're like, well, why would they have done it? Now I almost respect the movie for doing it. Oh yeah, we got them back all right, but they're fucking dead. They're gonna get killed. And I used to hate that about the movie. I'm like, why would you do that? But now I'm like, kind of ballsy idea to kill them all off, to open it up. The whole point was to open it up so that Freddy could get away from the Elm Street connection and get to new kids. And with this whole Dream Master thing, it's convoluted, but all the movies are, in a sense. And all the problems you had, I said, no, he's sleeping there, she's sleeping there. The only one that gets a little muddy is when they're doing the math test, because the girl says she's tired, so she's asleep. But I don't know why, if she brought Lisa Wilcox into it, Alice, into her dream, or if Alice fell asleep in the classroom as well. That's the only one that is maybe forced. They both talk about being tired, and I could see one falling asleep, but they both being asleep. That's the only one that's a little weird. I think the premise there is they're going with, if the victim fell asleep, they were able to bring Alice in, or Alice was aware of it because she's the dream master.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Even though I talk shit about the movie, I can explain that one. As cheesy as it fucking is, and I hate it, but there is an explanation. I don't like the.
Well, you've always said that everybody was always, you never knew when everybody was asleep or whatever at the end of the movie, or for the end of part 4. That was always been your big bone of contention with it, I thought. That's why I was arguing this.
When they were asleep and when they were?
All of them. You said part 4 makes no sense because no one's ever asleep.
I think that's part 5. Part 5 is where they randomly would go to sleep for no reason. Like a girl on a diving board about to jump in a pool is going to fucking fall asleep. Sit like that.
Oh,
no, part
okay.
4. No, Kristen. Okay. Kristen Parker. Alice took, unless I'm in the wrong fucking movie now. Hold on. Didn't Alice take everybody's fucking powers? Oh, I hate to say those words. And she even literally said it. Oh, God. You'll need my power. And she fucking throws her power, I guess.
Let's be honest. They've always been expositioned, dialogue-based movies. Like,
no, I don't care about that. I just think it's a terrible line. It's like watching a fucking, what do you call it? The Rainbow Bright with or a Care Bear with fucking one thing going to the other. Like, you'll need my power, make a wish or something, you know? So anyway, it's fucking, yeah. So Kristen, Kristen gave her powers to Alice. And Kristen's powers were being able to be pulled into other people's dreams. And the fucking smoking. Every time somebody died,
I don't
that is the most forced fucking thing. That's my problem. All that shit is terribly forced. The comedy is way over the top when it didn't need to be. And a lot of things just don't make sense.
Oh, I'm not, I can't disagree with Freddy is 100% in the spotlight, cracking one-liners. Like there's no question about that. But at that time, he was the height of its popularity. It makes sense. It's just so far removed from the vision that Craven had from part one. Right. But okay, we're in sequelitis land now, so be it. So they made him darker in part 5, and every time I go back to part 5, I either go, oh my god, this is deadly dull, or I have a good time with it. And this time I had a good time with it. It's the body count's lowered. I really wish we do have the unrated version, which added so much more gore. I do think that it's a little convoluted when Dan's on the motorcycle.
This boy has the need. Oh
yeah, God. and then he goes back. He gets in an accident. He's on his truck. It's very convoluted, or he goes in his truck, then he's on the motorcycle. I just don't understand why they couldn't combine that. But the baby's dreaming there. That's how they get into. Anybody could be in an awake state, and this is what's happening. But again, whether you are along for the ride or not, so be it. It is again. It's. I like that they try to do a few in-camera effects. They try to build on the Amanda mythology a little bit. I'm not saying it's perfect. It's very forced, but I don't hate it. It's just a weaker entry. And then we get the Freddy's Dead. And I think I said when we watched these the last time I watched them with the family, my kids liked this one, and I almost wanted to kick them onto the street for good. Horrible. Terrible. I actually doubling down on my reaction to Freddy's Dead. It is fucking god awful. You don't give a shit about the characters. It is a full cartoon. It's a full Looney Tune thing. Nothing makes sense in it. What they've done is they try to take an element from all the movies, it seems, to blend it into Freddy's Dead. It's
what
just
doesn't make
horrible.
sense. What doesn't make sense in that one?
The kid, he doesn't know who he is. He's the one last nightmare, Elm Street kid. He's trying to escape. There's the daughter scenario. He doesn't know who she is. The daughter, the one that plays the daughter, the Zane, whatever Zane actress is fucking terrible actress. Terrible. She can't deliver a line to save her life. The whole 3D forced element, Doc from Alien, I don't know why he's there. The dream demons, stupid, layered upon stupid, layered upon stupid. Freddy's one-liners, Freddy's makeup is absolutely abysmal in this. I guess they wanted to totally simplify it, so it does just look like a bad rubber mask that we can all go buy and whatever. In fact, they've probably come up with better masks now that look better than that. His lines are the worst, other than maybe part 5 in the franchise. But the power glove, his even the Carlos scene that I was a little bit more forgiving on when we reviewed it for the franchise, I hated.
Right.
I just want to fucking stick the needles into my eyes. Everything about that movie just is wrong. It actually doesn't feel like an Elm Street movie. Out of all those sequels, this one feels like the fish out of water to me. I watched them back to back to back to back, and they all seem to flow in some weird sort of way, even though you literally jump from 1 to 3. But they all seem to flow in some weird way. And then part 6 is just this, it just sits like a fucking orphan by itself. It's just horrible. I
almost would rather watch it than 5, 4, and 5.
I know you've always mentioned this, and I can't take that away from you. I get
because
it.
You know why? It's so.
I tried.
The thing is this. It's because it acknowledges what it is instead of trying to masquerade itself as something. It is so fucking goofy that it's like, Here's the problem. 4 will always endlessly anger me very much because 3 was perfect, and what they did with 4 was a bastardization of everything that was perfect about 3. So I have a personal thing against 4, and the fact that everybody else loves it, and that adds to me like. All I can do is shake my head and say, how do you not see what the fuck, and how do you not see how awful this script is and how illogical everything is in this movie? Bothers me. Now,
Part 3 is
5 is
pretty
even
illogical
worse.
too. We pointed out the inconsistencies in part 3. We just love it because it hit right at that time or whatever. I know that part 4 is only a year later, but that's why it hit well for me at the time as well. I thought it was a great continuation. They went up, that they did it. They put everything to 11. I can't disagree with you. They said, "Oh, this worked. Okay, we're going to play with the souls of the children. They're going to do all this," and I can't disagree with certain script elements, but I find it's no different than 3 had some. I guess this is when you get too many script writers involved.
I want to hear about 3 now.
Well, we've always talked about it, like Philip walking. Like if it was true to mythology of Nightmare on Elm Street, he should have been walking in reality with his tendons out. Fair. Because all that shit is in reality. He shouldn't have been able to go ghostly through a door either. I don't know why they did that.
That's true. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I can't argue that. That could have been done better. You're right.
And but such a great scene. We're forgiving of it because it's fucking gory as shit and it's terrifying. But you like the kids. Yeah. You do like the kids here. And 4, I think they get a good job of making you like the kids. 5, I think what happened is by this point we're already long in the tooth. You're at part 5. And it was difficult. They wedge these kids in, and sometimes I like them, sometimes I don't. Depends on the watch. Again, it's just my mindset. I do like Joe Minter that from Summer School. Yeah, yep. I think she's
great. Mask.
She's great in everything. She's great in everything she's in. Yeah. And I think
here's the thing about 4. Again, not just 4. What they did with 3 was really cool because you had different people, the Last of the Elm Street Children, and because they had the idea of the Dream Warriors, when I go to sleep, I have this. What they did with 4 is they all of a sudden felt forced to fucking have, okay, this girl here is into fucking sports and lifting weights. This girl here is into bugs. This person here is into karate. It's felt so fucking forced that they had to give them these identities because of what they did in part 3. It's almost, that's what I'm saying. It feels like a direct-to-video ripoff version of what, like if 3 came out and another company came in.
I think they just said we want a carbon copy it.
Movie.
Well,
but that's what I'm saying. But why do that? Because it looks so obvious of a fucking
because 3 was so successful. I think that's really what boils down to. 3 was financially and critically, with the fans at least, successful. That they did a carbon. Really, part 3 to 4 is probably the most continuity in the series. And then I guess you could. What I mean by that is like because 1 to 2, you've got a certain continuity with the house and Freddy, but 1 to 3, you've got the continuity with Heather and Nancy, excuse me, and John Saxon and whatever. But 3 to 4 is really the most like boom, bam, bing, and even to 5, 3, 4, 5 really could go together. They get weaker as they go along. I'm not denying that. They do get weaker as they go along. And then 6 just feels like I said, the orphan child that doesn't seem to link anything to anywhere except for that it has Freddy in it. And it just, that's why I'm saying it's the bastard of the series in a sense. Because even 7 at least brought back Nancy in this meta version of like a grand sort of grandiose remake of the original in the real world. That's how you can link it there. So 6 just seems like 6 and 2 for that
6
matter.
And 2.
But
I agree.
2 you can see it from a 1 to 2 standpoint. There's continuity there from the house, from the mention of Nancy or the girl being there and whatever. So there is its own continuity there, and it's gory and it's scary, gory-ish, because when he comes out of the body, that's the goriest part, in my opinion. Like the kills itself are not as creative as part 1 for sure.
No, I mean I like the cockroach thing, the double thing, and then that's cool when they turn her into a cockroach. That's what the whole thing is.
No, 4 is great. 4 is
right.
great from its from its craziness. But you're right, they're all gimmicks, and they all. I agree with you. They took that knob and went, it worked. Crank it up to. We're in a sequel.
Yeah.
We've got to give it even more. I think
I understand
it would have
to a
been
degree.
interesting if they kept
Just
Freddy
was
in the
poorly written.
shadows instead
Yes.
of bringing him right in the limelight. I wonder, like, I get it. Like his one-liners in 4 still make me laugh to a degree, whereas 5, I am going, "Oy," like that bad you, Dan. I brought it up on the show before. Just
Yeah, it's
infuriates
terrible.
me.
5 and 6.
Most of his dialogue in 5 and 6 is abysmal, but even 4, I can get along. It was just on the edge. Like for some people, like you, over the top already.
I wish
And
it wasn't.
I can't.
I just.
But I can get it. Like even I love soul food. I can get into all that stupid stuff a little bit more. And if the food won't kill you, the service will. If the service won't kill you, the food will.
Whatever it is.
You dig all that stuff. It can work for me. I do like his makeup there, even though it was streamlined. It was definitely streamlined in 4, but it's still passable. It's like probably the last passable of the makeups, because they get worse as the series goes on. And as much as I like New Nightmare, he looks very rubbery in that for sure.
I mean, for me, it is the perfect fucking analogy of jumping the shark. When he turns into a fucking shark fin and he's on the beach and all of a sudden you see his glove moving around like a shark. It was like a parody. They never would have done that in part 3. There were things in 3 they did, but as soon as you take this movie and you put it in 4, and you have some things that already don't make sense, and this happens, and that, and the girl's on the beach, and the thing comes up, and the sandcastle explodes, and he comes up, and he has sunglasses on. It's like
sunglasses is the jump the shark. Sunglasses is the jump the shark. Even though my buddy loved it, he thought it was super cool and funny. I like the shark. I like the shark fin glove. I thought that was really well done. My problem is, I think what they did was they rushed. I think they needed to let the movie breathe a little bit more, and they're keeping it fast paced. So on one side of me, as a fan that has no attention span, it seems, I'm like thanking them for the boom, 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 boom. But maybe that's where the disrespect comes in. When you've got Joey and Kincaid that came back, why not let their dreams and that stuff breathe a little bit? Just make them a little bit longer, because
come on,
I think that's it. Yeah, well, I've laughed at it.
It starts off on a sour note.
But I love that resurrection sequence, like the bones coming back together, and
I do too.
And then there's some really cool parts. I'm a sucker for it. I like it, and
that's okay.
Warts and all. There's still some scenes I don't like "Hello, baby," coming back for that scene where she's daydreaming. They introduced the daydreams in this one, and so she has that aspect. Not needed. Even the El Cheapo, when you watch the documentary, you realize they ran out of money, and so they just filmed this whole dojo scene as his death sequence,
right?
And whatever. I mean, they treated this as a franchise no differently than Paramount treated Friday the 13th. There was a budget that they didn't want to exceed because they want to maximize returns. So it was definitely manufactured to a T the way they wanted it. Just the quality dipped as they went along. But I would say that they upped the quality in my opinion, for 3 and 4 over 2. 2 is still scarier and has some great moments, but I do like watching 3 and 4 much more. And then 5 has good moments. I think it's Stephen Hopkins is the director. He's got a style. He's got something there, but it's just, unfortunately, with the limitations and whatnot, it's the least successful, but there's still some good stuff in that one. 6, my God, it's difficult for me.
I understand people hate 6, and I understand why. I really do. But I just think that it's like, by the time we get to 6, after fucking the way I feel about 4 or 5, you may as well just go fucking balls deep and say, we're going to be as ridiculous as possible. And that's it. It's kind of like, I don't know. It was too radical of a fucking jump from 3 to 4 with me. That I'm like, okay, well, now Freddy's this. Now we've seen him do it in 4 and 5. All right, this is 6. He's going to be even more goofy, and I'm not going to like it, and I don't like it, but I like the flashback stuff, and I don't know. Something about the presentation and the story being a little different than it doesn't do the exact same formula that 4 and 5 did. There was just something about it that was a little different that I prefer over the formula.
I think
of 4
Watson
and 5.
Watson and you are in agreement with that, and that's fine. My kids were.
I don't like it.
I want them to watch them again because I wonder if I'll try to be silent. Difficult for me, but I'll try not to say anything and be like, "See, why did you like this one better than part 6?" I'll just let them watch them all out again and make the decision. But they both, my oldest didn't watch them. It was Jocelyn and Christian, and they said that 6 was their favorite because it was probably the goofier one. But when just watching back to back, you're like, whoa, what a departure. And I know what they're like, they have that they drive and they do the loop, like part 4, like they take little segments out of all the other ones and they try to piece them in, but even the abusive father shit just seems fucking forced. And then he hits him with the iron and his face comes back. It's just fucking redonkulous. It's just, I said redonkulous. I had another point. There was one other thing that like, I said again, none of them are like the first one is the closest one to perfection in the realm of the series. And we could still argue about the inconsistencies in that movie as well. But from a film standpoint, it just hits way more notes than like, again, the whole 20-minute sequence at the end, whatever it may be. And they do introduce the idea of pulling something. She pulls the hat out of her dream so she could pull Freddy out of their dream, unless, again, the whole movie is one big nightmare, and in which case then nothing needs to make 100% sense because we're in this nightmare. But if they're saying that the sleep clinic thing is when she pulls the fucking hat out, then we've got to be able to understand that Freddy can come into reality, which is what the second one was building upon. He was just doing it differently. So
I feel you.
Again, we're talking about fantasy horror here. So if you're looking for realism and whatever, you're going to be pissed out of the get-go.
That's fair. I just can't stand the scripts
out of the get-go.
After 3. The script of 4, very poorly written, in my opinion. The dialogue is fucking too much. It's forced. It's fucking too much humor. There's just so much I can pick apart in 4 specific, and 5 too. Honestly, all of them. 4 angers me the most. Is what that's what down to.
You made me remember. Sorry, man. You made me remember for saying it. Super Freddy. Even that, although stupid with the comic, they're playing on the comic books, but there was art in the design of that set where they painted everything that color as opposed to so that he could be in color. And I respect it for that. That's Stephen Hopkins and the art direction team trying to do something within the realm of the series. I'm not saying they were fully successful. There's flaws there. It's not my favorite movie, but I can enjoy it. Sometimes I hate it. Sometimes I just look at it and like, oh my God. Like when the souls come out and they look like these little Muppets popping out of the back. I mean, they did it well before. Well, that's the part, like his lines in 6, man, where he's like, where they do that dream demons coming up and whatever.
See, I'd rather see that than fucking anything he says in 4. I mean, it's not good, but it's not too jokey. It's not too fucking, it's maybe so bad it's good, but it's not fucking trying too hard to look at the camera and go, oh,
it's no different than Jason being alive. And once you start explaining it, some people need that. Some people need the explanation. I'm saying you kill the mythology at that point, and by forcing the explanation makes you just go, what were they fucking thinking? So I will just buy it, is where I'm going with it. I could just buy the fact that, holy shit, this guy was a child killer that the parents did a vigilante thing on because there was some technicality and he was let go, and he was killed, and he somehow, how I don't know or care, was able to come back and kill them in the dreams. That is because some people might be like, how can he do it? It doesn't even explain how. They might get mad and be hung up on that.
Who cares? How does someone possess somebody?
I never once questioned it. It just was delivered that way, enjoyable. They try to explain it in part 6 with these fucking dream demons, and you're like, I'd rather have not been explained at fucking all. Just leave it a mystery.
I would just rather see dream demons than a fucking a shark glove and Freddy wearing sunglasses. That's just me. That's just my preference.
I'll take the dream. I'll take the glove and the.
That's fair. You know what I think? Honestly, I believe that when the guy did part 4, whoever wrote it or directed, I know who directed it, but whoever wrote it or whatever the powers that be, I really feel like they just watched part 3 only and said, oh, there's this Freddy guy. Okay. Oh, he's making a joke. Okay. Oh, we did this. He says, bitch. Okay. I feel like from 4 to 5 to 6, the people that fucking wrote them only watched the movie before. Like they didn't watch like one.
That might have been the Michael DeLuca years. I know that he wrote part 6, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he was around yet in part 4 or not. I think he came in the 90s.
They should have fucking sat them down.
As much as he was a horror fan and stuck horror and put horror at the forefront, so I respect him for that. He's associated with a lot of the shit that we don't like and where things went. And part 6 is a perfect example. He wrote fucking Freddy's Dead.
Well, okay.
That sums it up right there, man.
He wrote 6 and what else?
Oh, I don't know what else. I can look up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mike DeLuca
that's fine.
wrote part 6.
That's okay. But the thing is, he was involved with the other ones in some way?
Well, no, I think he came on board at New Line. I'll look it up. In 1990. Well, he started with Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre as associate producer. So he had a love for horror. So he got things greenlit that may have not been greenlit before, but he also wrote In the Mouth of Madness, the one that John Carpenter directed. So,
wow. What the fuck?
I know.
See, there you go. So we had no idea what was happening in this franchise. They should have insisted. If I was Robert Shea, I would have said, everybody that's going to come and write and direct a fucking Freddy movie, I want you to sit down like fucking Clockwork Orange. I'm going to pull your fucking eyelids. I want you to watch part 1. I don't care if it has to be on repeat, but you had better watch fucking the original 1984 Nightmare on Elm Street before you come to the table with any fucking thing. Let's do something like this. And if you want to show them part 3, say, okay, part 3 and Freddy, he's more front and center now and he has some lines. Fine. But I don't know why somebody doesn't have the foresight to fucking see this and see what they're coming out with and say, okay, this isn't working. I think all they're seeing is, okay, Freddy's on MTV. He did this. He did Freddy. They see the dollar signs, and I get it. But the problem is, you get dollar signs, but they're not going to last because you can't have somebody be a fucking jokester like that. It's not going to work in the long run, and it's going to piss a lot of people off and alienate people. It's only going to go so long. A good horror, scary horror, stays around. People fucking.
If they reboot it, which I'm hoping that it will get done, I bet it will be even darker than the remake was trying to be. I think there will be no one-liners from Freddy.
I hope you're right, but
there will be dialogue from Freddy. I just don't think there will be one-liners. So he was a production executive on Nightmare on Elm Street 5, Dream Child, whatever that means, and then also part of Freddy's Nightmares, an executive consultant.
There you have it.
He wrote, the only thing he wrote was a short film, The Lawnmower, and not the one we saw. Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, In the Mouth of Madness, and Judge Dredd, one with Stallone. That's what he wrote. But he was a executive producer on tons of movies. But it's interesting that, there's a lot of talk about what his involvement, because he was thoroughly involved with trying to get Jason and Freddy moved, or Freddy versus Jason moved and made. But then he left, and then that's when it got made. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
He was there trying to get it done, and they just couldn't get to a script that him or Sean Cunningham were both fans of. That it took all that like 10 years or whatever it would be. He was left or let go and whatever, went somewhere else, and then Freddy versus Jason got made.
Wow. No shit. And then Freddy versus Jason, Ronnie Yu, right?
Ronnie who?
Never saw the other ones. Yeah. Kelly who? Never saw the other ones. Same thing with when he did fucking Chuck. See, I'm so against that idea. If I'm the head of the studio or I'm the top producer or whatever, I'm sorry. If you're going to be handling my fucking, my franchise here, this series of movies, I want you to have proper background. I don't want you to come up and say, okay, well, this is the gingerbread man. Oh yeah, I know what the gingerbread man is. He's got fucking gumdrop buttons on his fucking stomach. And he says, run as fast as you can. That's all I need to know. Okay. The gingerbread man takes Manhattan or whatever the fuck. Fuck you. Have some good background on who your character is and what kind of movies these are. I'm so against the idea of not having that background. It doesn't make
that's
any
why,
sense to me.
That's why, oh my God, Flanagan might be a perfect option for that, because at least we know, even though I'm not the biggest Flanif, sorry, Flan fan. I like I said, we've talked about it on the show enough, where it's been like Hush and Doctor Sleep will probably be the ones. But I'm not trying to discredit. I watch Midnight Mass, very well done.
Yeah.
Slow burn, but very well done. And so he's got the talent and the chops to do it. And I'd rather it be him than a Ronnie Yu.
Absolutely. 100%.
So no question. But anyway, let's get into, why don't we get into our movies, unless you want to get into something else?
No, we got movies to do. You're right. We got to get them.
I honestly don't think we're going to be talking that much about either one. That's why I thought we could talk about
fair. No,
Nightmare.
I agree. There isn't a whole hell of a lot to say. I'm with you. I have a lot more notes for one than I do the other, actually.
Well, why don't we go in order of release? As I say this, I'm not even remotely ready, because why would I be?
Man. Take your time. I'll tell you, it's okay. I could talk about other things while we're going. Fucking Ryan Murphy. That's somebody I have faith in. I don't give two shits that Ryan Murphy, that fucking American Horror Story, is going to have Kim Kardashian in it. I have faith in the man. I've been saying this for fucking 10 years. Right. Seriously. I have faith in the guy. He hasn't steered me wrong yet. Other people, they motherfuck this or that. They didn't like this season of AHS. That's fine. Me, I have never not liked an American Horror Story or anything I've seen that's been produced by Ryan Murphy. I have never watched it and come away not liking it. So until the guy steers me personally wrong, I don't care that Kim Kardashian is on the show. I don't know the extent of her role. I don't know what she's going to do. And I could probably say I've never seen her on that show, because I never watched that show. I've only seen pictures of her, and I think she's hot. So guess what? I want to see her on my screen. Call me what you will.
Can she act though? That's what I think. That's the problem.
For wanting,
I don't even know if she can act. I have no clue.
I don't either. But but Lady Gaga came in when he did Hotel season 5 and hadn't acted, to my knowledge, at that time on TV. Now, I don't know anything about her background in stage, and so pardon me for not knowing, my ignorance. I don't know, but when I saw Lady Gaga being brought in season 5, I'm like, huh, really? Lady Gaga? Okay, well, we'll see what happens. And she fucking slayed it, and now she's done some other stuff, and
she's great.
was really good in that movie, Star is Born, which is a fucking 10 out of 10 for me. Okay, so great movie. So I don't give a fuck. People are jumping all over this Kim Kardashian thing. And
that's because it's horror news, and
I know
we were talking about the fans earlier.
But I've learned not to do that. I give everything a chance, just like everyone's motherfucking this Exorcist thing, the remake or part 2, whatever, and especially because it's David Gordon Green, everything.
And they're basing it off the last Halloween, really. Like that's really it, or what he did with the last 3 Halloweens. But I begin again. To each their own.
I'll give it a chance.
I give it a chance as well. Exactly.
So
and again, they're doing it the way that they, whether right or wrong, I like this. It's not a remake of The Exorcist per se. It's an updated sequel. So that's how we're doing it, which I like. I like that.
Like Halloween.
Aspect. Yeah.
Like it did with Halloween 2018. Right? So that's fine. Honestly, if it was a remake, I still wouldn't give a shit. As much as I love The Exorcist, I don't give a fuck. Let's see what you have to offer. I've seen good remakes, and I've seen bad remakes, and I've seen great ones. I don't care. Suspiria taught me a big lesson. I will tell you that. That was the one at first I heard. I said, you can't fuck with Suspiria. Then the guy comes out and does a great Suspiria, another movie, another take on it. You know what? Sold. If it didn't work for you, fine. It worked for me. So we'll see. Speaking of Suspiria,
I agree. Yeah, let's get into our first. Dario Argento, his second feature film, The Cat O' Nine Tails, or the second in the animal trilogy, if you consider flies an animal. Two journalists try to solve a series of murders connected to a pharmaceutical company's secret experiments, becoming targets of the killer themselves. and it was in 1971. From my understanding, it's on record that Dario Argento says this is his least favorite film that he made. I don't know when the article was, or interview was conducted, though. I believe in the late or early 2000s, something around that time, I believe.
Interesting. Even I didn't know that. Wow.
And
his least favorite.
I'll say this.
Runs a little long.
It runs a little long, like a lot of his do. But he gets, it's shot beautifully. It looks so good, and it looks really good in 4K.
Indeed.
There's some editing tactics that he is used early on that I can't, now we just did Deep Red. I can't recall if it was in Deep Red, but it was definitely in both this one and Four Flies, where it's like he's about to finish a scene and he'll just randomly rapid cut to the next scene where it's like you see a frame and it's like kind of disjointed and kind of throws you off for a second, returns to the scene you're in, goes back to the other scene, and then just cuts to the other scene and then just carries over. And I'm like, that was a weird transition. I mean, instead of doing a dissolve or just a straight cut, it's like it does a shot back into the next scene. Very weird.
I can't say I noticed.
Oh,
isn't that something?
Yeah, I noticed it. Yeah, I noticed it a couple of times. But I mean, that's just an editing style, but just a very weird design. And I don't know what artistic or meaningful merit it had other than just being a cool way to transition to the next scene, because it didn't make any sense in my mind for the story or whatever. But anyway, so be it. I noticed it in both films, but the movie looks good. I like the setup with the blind guy and his daughter.
I wanted more of that. Niece. I wanted more of them, I think. Honestly, I think that, to me, that was kind of the best parts of the story, and I wanted more. And here's the thing. I like the lead. I like, the guy that
looks like Charleston Heston.
What's his name?
First time I watched this movie, I kept thinking, I go, that Charleston Heston? No, it can't be. It can't be him. No, it's got to be him. Not this time, but like when I watched it way back when, I was like, I think it's Charleston Heston. Like it's Charleston Heston. What does that say?
Oh, that's Charleston. No, Charlton. Charlton.
Charlton.
Charleston.
Yeah.
Charleston.
Dude.
Yeah.
That was Ben-Hur.
Okay. Yeah, Ben-Hur. Okay. I don't know these movies. I've seen them maybe once. I don't know. Okay, here's what I think. I'm surprised he doesn't like this as much as the others, because he's very Hitchcockian. To me, if you're gonna say, okay, this is why they call him the Italian Hitchcock. This movie here seems more like a Hitchcock movie than
the next
than
one.
any of that.
I think both of them,
and probably than Bird, more than Bird.
Yeah, I agree. Although, again, they all carry the similarities. It's the wrong man, or the man put in jeopardy that he can't necessarily go to the police out of the game. Well, this one they can, but they're not getting help. The next one is really that scenario where he can't go to the police. He can't really go for help. He's really on his own. Right. And that's really like we're a Hitchcockian trope or not trope, but like element. But I agree with you. There's something more, maybe because of the involvement of a blind guy in it, and they play around with it. But yeah, he loves blind and gay characters.
Blind and gay. Yes. Yeah. He loves blind and gay.
But he's gay. Blind.
I thought the same thing last night. I can't believe it. You said it. Yep. Maybe that's why she got him confused. She's a big Argento. She watches all this stuff. She always blind and gay. I want to see if he's ever have a gay blind guy in a movie. If Argento has not had a gay blind man, his final movie should be, the main character should be gay and blind. I want to see that. Matter of fact, have you ever seen a gay blind guy in a movie?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of one.
Well, we're putting one in ours. I'll play it. I'll even play the fucking role.
I'm gonna sniff the cock out. Over here.
Oh fuck, gay and blind. Okay, I'll say this.
I'll ask Vince if he knows of any gay blind.
Yeah, I'll ask if he knows any. Right. To critique it, I will say this. I think he may have wrote himself into a corner, in a manner of speaking, and I'm not knocking the movie. I promise you, I'm not shitting on it. This is a bit of a critique that I thought about yesterday. I think he had the title of the movie first. He had a good idea, and said,
Yeah.
cat of nine tails. And when the guy
Yeah.
brings it up and he says a cat with nine tails, and then the blind guy says,
Just
"Oh,
how many
like,
suspects they have. Yeah, exactly. Or something like that.
I think he said, okay, let's have something where we have 9 leads and work backwards from it. And I think by doing that, granted, it's an hour movie, an hour and 50-minute long movie, but I think you didn't necessarily need all 9. I just think he worked backwards on it, and that's what I mean how he wrote himself into a corner a bit. I could be wrong. That's my theory.
No, and there's like all of these, they take an element, and this is very much Argento, even like when we're talking about Phenomena, where he tries to mix like a little science in there, but
I love
really, at least, but they take like something that has been talked about or maybe referenced, but might have not one iota of reality behind it, or whatever. Like exactly, but he plays it straight in both movies, or in Phenomena, like the insects will tell you how they die. I don't really know if that's
the
true.
insect will lead you to it. Could this one maggot or whatever it was? What was it, a fly or a maggot? Whatever.
Yeah, I think it was a fly or maggot. Or something, and then or whatever. And we'll get into in 4 Flies on Gray, because that one was like literally like, boop, let's just throw this in for the final thing. But and here,
cool concept though.
Again, his stories are structured also very disjointedly, but that's the style almost like we start with this blind guy and his niece, and they go to this loudmouth kind of reporter that they latch onto based on what they overheard, and he wants to latch on. They develop this friendship, and then you start finding out like about this experiment or this XYZ or XYY or YXX. XXY.
XYY. XYY.
It's really funny because if you really drill down, so ultimately what we find out is that the experimentation and all the research that they've done with this has led to the fact that if you've got this buildup in DNA or whatever it may be, that you could be prone to violent or psychotic behavior. Correct?
Let me interrupt.
And
ask you a question.
Yeah.
You remember that scene when that was being explained on the
Yes.
chalkboard?
Yeah.
Okay. The person that's explaining that, is that the reveal at the end? Is it the same guy? Okay,
Yes.
I thought so,
Yes,
because when it
yes.
happens, and I've seen the movie before, don't get me wrong, it's just been a bit, and I haven't overwatched any of the Argentos, except for, okay, I shouldn't say that. I haven't overwatched the Animal trilogy. I don't know why. I just don't visit it as frequently as the others. Not that I don't like it.
Well,
I just
This one, there
I'm-
seems to be a little bit more of a, but I had to go back and make sure as well.
Oh,
'Cause
you made
with
sure.
the reveal,
Okay.
I'm like, is this that
Cassoni.
guy? It's gotta be, because I'm like,
who's
what the
Cassoni?
fuck? I gotta go back. I'm like, because that's what I find with some of these Argentos is you get confused, especially this one. I get the next
Just
one
this
is
one
a,
for me.
this one's a cheat. The next one's a cheat. Like they give you really no like hints in the next one, whereas this one, I think at least he's part of it. He's right in there. But I love the design of murder in an Argento film. It's like, oh my God, we did this test. I've proven positive of carrying this DNA that will make it seem like I'm a violent person, but he hasn't he hasn't done anything violent yet. So to hide it and to hide the fact that he's positive for this, he kills everybody that's witness or knows about him being positive. Isn't that fucking kind of weird?
Is that what it is?
Well, I might be
He's
oversimplifying
positive?
it. Yeah, so he's got they did the test and it's been revealed that he's got this buildup or the, is it XXY or YY? I fucking forgot, but that buildup,
XYY.
XYY, and he's got this, and it's been proven. So one person knew, and that's who he killed, and then more people were.
Well, there was a
were
blackmail.
part of it. Well, yes,
There was
there's always a
blackmail
blackmail
going on.
Always a blackmail in an Argento movie.
But
'Cause you
that's
could
why
get
there's
one-
murder.
You could get one extra murder in there as well. Yeah.
No, that's the basis of the whole thing. He was going to expose the fact that this guy is XYY. He doesn't want people to know
Yes.
about it. He wants to continue his work. So he's
Yeah.
being blackmailed. So now anybody that may have found out about this, or it could be determined that he's XYY, he's got to bump off. It all starts with that blackmail, though.
So it proves this research is true, that it makes you an uncontrollable killer.
Well, sure, it's sci-fi.
You
yeah,
just say,
it
hey,
works.
I'm doing the research. I found out that I'm positive. Like, why? Like, it's still very. I still feel like it's convoluted. Like, so he got blackmailed because he didn't want this out, but that didn't mean he was a killer unless he's an actual killer. So was there an element that I'm not aware of, that he was a killer before, that we weren't aware of, or did this all start because he was found out to be positive based on this research that they've done?
I think it's because he found out to be positive, and basically it's being explained that these people that they're going to find out as being positive. He even explains it when he's on the chalkboard, because they're going to take these people and put them someplace else. Almost that they're going to institutionalize them just based off the fucking.
Okay. And then that makes, that makes enough sense. I can't let anybody know because I don't want to be put into solitary confinement or locked up.
Right. Whatever it is, he won't be able to do what he's doing. He won't be able to be a scientist anymore. You know what I mean? So I get that now. See, by you saying that, now it makes more sense.
But there's a lot, like in most murder mysteries and everything else, there's a lot of like derailment. You're going this way, you're going another way.
There's too mmany characters.
There's a relationship.
Suspects,
like this guy gets in a car with a woman that's driving frantically.
See, I like that.
They go up to the sink, and then they have a
love
relationship,
that scene.
and then there's poison milk, and then or poison something else, and then there's a locket that contains a vital clue. There's always a vital clue locked away. But
I like it.
I do like the swerve where at one point in time you're like, are they fucking going to make this blind man the killer? And then maybe circumvent and go back, and maybe he changed the whole setup, and they're gonna recon like the beginning, and maybe it was all a setup for them to be there to hear that good discussion and whatever. Because there's that one moment where you think
at the mausoleum,
is he being attacked, or is he literally leaving and shutting the door? And then he comes back in, and then of course
he's got the knife.
He doesn't say the thing that you normally say. Is like, buddy, are you there? I'm so sorry I got attacked. He comes in and acts like a fucking killer. So like, of course we're going to think, oh my God, are they going to go this route and actually make him the killer, which would be stupid and cool at the same time, because like, how did this blind guy manage to do all this? But I'm willing to believe it because of the way they set him up and how calculated he is, and how he's able to do, crosswords a certain way with the way that the braille or however it's set up. So it's all good. I'm good with all of that and whatever. But then they realize, no, it was just there to almost red herring it for like a split second before they realize that it's not them, and they're on the track. They go back on the track to I guess get the proper killer. But I still find it's never, and I don't want it to be an easy path. Don't mistake this for saying, but I find that they take all these detours that actually are more confusing than actually layered properly for a murder mystery movie. Am I explaining that well?
Yes, I think there's too many avenues. That's the problem. They felt the need to have 9 and to go back, and they're like, okay, what's going? And then the thing with the woman with the locket, when they go and they visit her, then she leaves and she makes a phone call. And she says something like, they're on to us, or something. I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So she's a heel. She's in on this. But then actually later we find out that she gets got. Yeah. And she isn't a heel, but she is doing something heelish, but it doesn't apply directly to fucking murder.
The killer in an Argento movie is always just outside your door if you do something wrong. That's the other thing in an Argento movie. The second you're like, they're on to us, then you see the door open behind almost, and the killer's there to get them. I'm not saying it's that simple, but it's almost that simple. The second it's like a trick, but a cinematic trick. I'm on board for the most part, because there are movies that I've loved that have done this too, where it only makes sense within the realm of the movie, but if you think about it too much, it's a little convoluted. But the second, like, she's like, oh, she's not the killer. Oh, but something, there's a connection there. Oh, that she must be talking to the killer, or something, and then she gets killed, or whatever it may be. I mean, it's not specifically that scene, but that's how Argento sort of structures these movies. And it does play out. There is a scene like that. I'm just now confusing if it's this movie or Four Flies where it happens.
No, I
Might
know what
be
you're
in
saying.
both. But-
It's definitely here, but I know what you're saying. And again, it's 9 avenues, and they're
Yeah.
trying to do the best they can. And then he has the 2 guys, and it's like, okay, what's going on here? Then we find out that the one guy is gay, and then we find out later on that the other guy is gay, and he sets the other guy
Yeah.
up to go here, and they're in love with some guy named Manuel or some shit like
Yeah.
that, and the guy's getting afraid he's going to get taken away. So they
Yeah.
add another element to it. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
ultimately, what did that have to do with what we finally see as the reason behind it? I don't know. Now, here's the thing. I want to go back and watch the movie again because already of what we've discussed here, because I think I have a greater appreciation of what's going on with so many things that already, just in this short conversation we've had, I think I want to see, because there was like, I don't know, 6 or 5 or 6 people. There was the German
Yeah.
guy, there was the other, and they go through them all at the end. And of course, most of them look the same, or I don't know, they're just regular guys in suits. And you're like, okay. And then you see the father with the daughter. Then we get into that, and it's almost like another misdirection. Okay, it's really not his daughter. And is he
Yeah.
a heel because he's saying that he has fucking feelings for his daughter that he shouldn't have? And so it's like different people
I love it.
they have their it's almost like he's saying that everybody has a secret. That's either, even if it's a small secret, that they're gay. It could be just that small. You know what I mean? Although the guy didn't seem to like he was trying to hide it. When the guy came, they go, "Oh, he hangs out at St. Peter's bar," or whatever the hell they said. And then he goes there and he's dressed in a suit like he would be at work, I think, and he's just carrying on like normal as a gay man. He didn't seem to be like hiding the fact. You know what I mean? Which not that he should have to, but again, it's 1971 or 1970, and on top of it, they're, like I said, I think they're trying to say everybody has a secret, but it didn't seem to me like he was in the closet. You know what I mean? Because the way he carried on when he saw the guy, he was like, "Hey, come here and we'll talk." And I'm in a gay bar, so
feel
what?
like the
You know what I
structure
mean?
is more confused, and the revelations are not so aha. Or they, I feel like we go down an avenue and you're like, well, that was weird, and oh, okay, there's that, and then I feel like it's like almost like building up the time from a movie, but there's not enough aha moments, and then so that's what I think the disconnect, and I see it more here. In fact, I think I enjoyed Four Flies, which again was a first time watch for me.
I thought that was the one.
It was. I told
thought.
you. I said it wasn't 100% until I watched it, but based on
Right.
the mask and everything, I'm like, I don't think I've seen
it.
And whatever. And I actually found out it only became available in the late 2000s, I believe.
I know that one Blu-ray. I know.
In 2009. I might, unless I got that incorrect, of just from some quick research I did last night. That it's only been more recent that one's become more readily available.
Right. Yeah, for the longest time.
But anyway, we'll get to that.
You couldn't.
Yeah,
Right.
we'll get to that later. But but this one, I mean, if you got the Arrow, it looks amazing. Great transfer. You can either watch the Italian version with subtitles or the English version, which I watched the English version because why not? It's actually dubbed. I thought it was dubbed very well. I thought these ones
supposed
were
to be that way.
And some people, English is their natural language, whereas others are not. That's always been the Argento, the Italian way of making movies. I think
But that's Argento. His movies are never in Italian. His movies are always in English. When you see their mouth moving, they're not speaking Italian. They're speaking English. That's the movies he fucking makes.
Some yes, some no. Sometimes it
almost all, unless there's like of course there's that part towards the end of fucking, what do you call it? But I think that's dubbed in. I think when there's Italian, it's dubbed in Italian the same way it's dubbed in English. But I think when he directs, it's in English when they're flapping their mouths.
This is the one where he's reading the note, right? And it's like clearly written in English, the note. And I almost believe that when they cut to the back shot of them, you could tell that it's written most likely in Italian. It doesn't look, I don't know why I had to lean in to say.
Look at the secret. Most likely.
But they show the close up, nice in English, but I'm pretty sure they must have had that shot in Italian as well. I don't know how international they make it, but maybe those two, just from the market standpoint. But when they cut to the back shot of him reading it, you can see through the paper, and I'm almost positive it wasn't written in English. It's a
yeah.
further away shot, so you're kind of looking in, but you can just tell based on what you just read that I don't.
The
think it was
writing
written
never
this way.
is. Same thing with Four Flies. The writing, you have to put the captions on to see
Yeah.
what the fuck the writing is saying in the papers. That's true because they're in Italy. But then I go, why are they
This would
speaking
cut
English?
to this would cut to a shot of the note he was reading, and it was fully in English. But I'm telling you, like, I think that was a disassembly. They probably said one take. Okay, here's a note in English. One take. Here's a note in Italian, and then cut it together accordingly. So actually, I should probably watch the Italian version and see if that note is different.
I'm curious about the Italian
Funny
version.
enough.
Did you watch the alternate ending or no? Because I forgot to. I knew there was.
No, I didn't either. I because I didn't have. So what I did was I watched Four Flies last weekend because I'm like, I haven't even seen this one yet. So let me absorb it, and maybe I'll have to watch it again, and then I can watch Cat O' Nine Tails because I've watched it already. So then I put Cat O' Nine Tails on, but then as I watched that, I'm like, I haven't watched this one as much. I watched it when I got the 4K, and watched it before that, and that was it. So this was only really the third, maybe the fourth time ever watching Cat O' Nine Tails. But it's
me too, to be honest.
So, but again, I'm like you. Although maybe it's his least favorite, but there's still enough to enjoy here. I don't think it's great, but I do think it's good. Like,
right.
I really don't feel, I don't know why. I guess if you're the director, if it's what you make, you're going to be harder on yourself than everybody else. But I don't think there's anything for him to be disappointed of. This has the Dario Argento thumbprint on it. Like I said, a little long, a little confused. Like you said, maybe they had to work backwards, so they've got stuck. Like we have to have these 9 leads now, and we've got to like whittle them down accordingly. But it has a fascinating climax. Like at least he kind of took it from, maybe it's not so grandiose as a Hitchcock, but it takes place on the top of the building there. Right. And there's that one scene where he's rolling down the building.
Yeah.
That was really well done. Like it's just like the momentum, and you think he's going to roll right off. And I think the killer does think he rolls right off. But what you don't realize is he lands on a platform that's like maybe 5 feet off of that down. But it was really well done.
Definitely.
Just I don't know how the blind guy gets up there. There's a little scuffle between him and the killer. But they had to get the blind guy back in because he was a main component of the story and everything.
Well, of course, and his niece is there, kidnapped.
Yeah.
So and the thing again, Argento, to be critical of it, this still looks great and sounds great, like a lot of his work at the time does. He has Morricone scores, and both of these movies are fucking great. That one, it's funny because my wife came downstairs. She was in and out of this one, and she's like, "Wait a minute," and she goes, "That sounds like Kill Bill." And I said, well, that would make sense. And then I started talking about Tarantino and he loves Morricone and who Morricone is and this and that. And she's right. She pointed out there's this part. Okay, in Kill Bill, when part 1 initially ends and they start giving almost like the preview for Kill Bill Volume 2, and he's like, that woman deserves her vengeance. And he showed Michael Madsen. Okay, and you know that song that goes,
oh my God, I can't hear you whistle.
Oh, really?
It's cutting out your whistling.
Oh, wow. I can't even
whistle. Isn't that fucking great? Like can you hear that?
No.
Isn't that fucking crazy?
Can't whistle. These
I am whistling, but you can't even fucking.
I know. Okay, let me say
the frequencies down. That's fucking crazy.
Okay, let me say it then. You know that part when it goes do 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 do. You know the music in Kill Bill. Okay, there was parts in the score that were very similar to that type of thing, and I'm like, that makes sense. That's what Tarantino does. Like I said, I explained Morricone and Tarantino. I said, you think I know a lot about film? I probably know about 10% of what fucking Quentin Tarantino does. You know what I mean? So
I want to get his book on that. I got to get his book on film.
And the soundtrack and the thing from Morricone and how he used it in Hateful Eight. And then I think they got an Oscar for it and everything else, the unused music and whatnot. So anyway, I was just telling her about that. I go, well, that makes sense. I go, I'm pretty sure, because I watched this one second. It just happened to be that way. I watched Four Flies, then I watched this. Because it was shorter, I had a window of time. So, and I knew Morricone did Four Flies, and I wasn't sure at the time if he did this or not. So then I was like, okay, let me see it. I go, I bet it's Morricone. Sure enough, I looked it up, and it is. Anyhow. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But I think it sounds great. It looks great. And I got to say this again about, is it just budgetary? Even though Argento is new to the game, even with Bird, why is it that Bird looks so good, that these movies look so good? They don't look like they're from the 70s. A lot of times you watch movies from the 70s.
They look a little bit ageless almost.
They look like fucking... Right.
Well, they're
they look
paintings
so
almost.
much better. Why the fuck?
It's
what is that?
The cinematographer. No, it's the cinematographer. And it's not even budget, because he had, like, I think one of them was made for $1 million lira, which maybe at the time was a lot, but I don't think it is. And it just looks so good.
Yeah.
So even if the movie, or like, that's what you've got to respect it. And he does get some great, like, shots and sequences out of these movies that you can't. I'm not disappointed. Like, I'll rate it a 7 out of 10. Like, I'm rating Cat O' Nine Tails a 7 out of 10.
So
but I enjoyed like everything about
Me
it.
too.
It's enjoyable. It's just a little long. Like, it's a little detour average, but it looks beautiful. I wholeheartedly agree. And so does Four Flies. And my wife came down and both when I watched Bird and said, well, this looks really good. She thought that guy was, he's really attractive. Like, well, yes, he's chiseled. He's a good, like, Charlton Heston guy.
Okay.
Like, he's a good looking guy. And then when she came down and saw Four Flies, she's like, what year is this? Because I rewatched the beginning of Four Flies, because I was like, I watched it and said, did they give any hints that it could be her? And by rewatching the beginning again, there are some subtleties, but there's really no.
Well, we'll get to it.
I don't think there's any big hint, but we'll go. But anyway,
there's something to it.
She looks at it too and said, what year was this made? I go, 71. She goes, it doesn't look like that. She goes, that hairstyle was great. Whatever. It's just maybe something about being Italian. Maybe it's just about the fashion and also the art component there. It just, you're right. There's something about this. This is pure cinema. So whether you shit on the script component of it, the damn movie looks good and it's well made.
Is it the 4K aspect of it, or am I wrong? I don't think it is, because it's in 4K.
Well, I don't have the Blu-ray to compare it to, but I'd say
I have the blue.
Yeah.
I don't have the blue I have a DVD for Flies, and I have a 1080p transfer on Emby, which is where I watch it. I had them added recently. So I have that, but I don't have the blue of Four Flies yet, because, well, that's a whole story.
I don't even know if they have the 4K. I don't even know if I think that Severed one was 4K. I think the Severed one was 4K, but it's like $170.
Yeah, there's a reason, right? I can't. Yeah. So I didn't get it right away. Guys. Yeah, fuck that. You could have got it right away for like 100, but it came out either way. I'm not doing it. But the look of the movie, and I don't think it's because it's 4K. That's just what I'm trying. This is one of my things where I don't sometimes like the look of 70s movies. Some people look at it and it has a charm to them, and that's fine. I don't say, okay, maybe I shouldn't say I don't like the look. I just prefer looks from other decades. How's that? But take a look at fucking Last House on the Left. Take a look at fucking what else is from the 70s? Like what's the other rape movie? You know what I mean? I Spit on Your Grave. Watch fucking, and even movies that are in 80 that are filmed in 79. You know, they have a look to them, and this is not that look. Even Fulci, who's from Italy, if he filmed something in the 70s, it has that film stock look to it, which is fine. It just, this looks so much better than those movies, and I'm trying to figure out why. And I'm guessing it had to be budget.
Well, it's the lighting, it's the film stock, it's the lighting, the film stock, everything that goes into it. But there's an art component there, and you'll say that about a lot of films. But there is a distinct look to these that differentiates them from a lot of cinema that we've been looking at. But if you look at some classical movies, you're going to see they share the same characteristics. Maybe I don't think it was CinemaScope or anything like that, but I know what you're alluding to, but I will.
Even Texas Chainsaw looks better than fucking Last House on the Left and shit like that.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? It's Texas Chainsaw. It's supposed to be gritty in this and fucking guerrilla filmmaking. That looks better than other 70s fucking exploitation films. I don't like the look of the 70s exploitation film. Maybe I am just a fucking snob and I'm been spoiled by fucking good PQ. And then shame on me. I can't help what I like though. You know what I mean? I just prefer things to look clean, like these movies look. I don't know.
And they do. And like, again, I can't compare it and do a justification from a DVD to Blu-ray to whatever, because I have the 4K of that. And I think it's just the 4K. No, it's one disc. It was a one disc for Cat 09. So there was no Blu-ray. That's the one thing about Arrow. It's like you get the 4K, you're getting the 4K.
Yeah, I know. I already had the Arrow Blue,
which is fine. But so I just recommend it. It's great. And you can get it in the standard edition, or you can get it in the limited edition, which has the poster, the booklet, and everything else. Yeah. That's the one I've got too. It's beautiful.
I'm hanging up that poster somewhere.
Nice. Oh, it looks amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
You want to talk about sniffing VHS? Sniff the poster. There's an aroma to an Arrow box set. That's well worth it. But yeah, it's still good, even as muddy as both movies are going to be from a storytelling standpoint, from a script structure is what I'm saying, because there's also a visual structure that, of course, just resonates with me because I do like Argento's style. But if you don't like Argento's style, I could see you being bored by this, or just not finding anything to grasp onto, because the story for both is a little ludicrous, but it's a giallo, and that's one of the thumbprints of a giallo as well, right?
Correct. It is. It's all the notes.
You kind of need that preposterousness to make it part of the enjoyment factor. It's just how preposterous, and will I buy it?
Well, and again, it's Argento, and he does a lot of these similar things in his movies. And if you like him, you like him, and if you don't, you don't. I happen to like him, and maybe if we get to that giallo show this year, I'll prefer some other ones. But so far, for the most part, straight up fucking giallo movies are fucking, it's Argento for me. And the other ones just don't cut it the same. They just
Sergio
have not.
Would probably be the one that that I will go to, and a lot of that is just on. I haven't seen his catalog like vast. I've only seen a handful of movies, but he seems to be one, or Bava, of course.
Yes.
For like I mean, that I think that goes maybe that goes without saying, because that would be the one that most people, Bava, Argento, and then Martino for me.
Well, Bay of Blood. I prefer Bay of Blood to the fucking these two movies we're talking about today overall. However,
same with me.
I have more of a comfort zone with Argento movies than other directors. So take that as you will. I'm not saying I would rather watch. I don't know what I would rather watch. It's a mood. Sometimes I'm in the mood to watch a fucking Argento, especially a 4K now that I have them. So it's a comfort movie for me. All of Argento movies, I guess, are. But I think that Bay of Blood, like I said, I think I give it like a 9 out of 10. You know, I'm giving this a 7. So what are you going to do? You know?
Well,
but Bay of Blood is more than just a fucking giallo. It's half slasher. It's a little different, I think.
Well, yeah, you can really see the groundwork. You can really see the groundwork, as we've discussed, that led to Friday the 13th 1 and 2.
Right.
In Bay of Blood. There's no question.
Interesting that it came out at the same time as these movies too. Same year. 70, 71.
Just significantly gory. Like, I mean, when you think of Argento, you kind of think of like some of like the later works where he definitely dwells upon the gore, and there's gore in these. Don't kid yourself. But it's not. It's not. I think Deep Red is really the turning point where I think it gets a little bit gorier.
Right, but at least in these movies, there's creative kills.
Yes,
especially the final kills are always fucking cool. Like the one in here is fucking great. You know, you get that reveal and it's like, okay, wait a minute, who are you? What's going on? And you get a little, okay, maybe there's a little bit to be desired there, but the fucking the way it ends and the elevator and the grabbing onto those those cables. Oh man, it's hard to watch for a second there for me. Something about that, and then the very end, cookie.
Oh, I love it. It's almost like haunting. It's like you just hear that name, but it's good because it almost makes it a happy ending. Well, this is the one. This is the elevator shaft, right? So
yeah,
like
dude.
I mean that
great.
That alone had me cringing. So it's well done. It's whether it be forced, it's great because although he wants to kill him, as in the blind guy wants to kill him based on what he thinks has happened,
right.
it is more accidental. So he can't be arrested for his death because he
Right.
falls back and crashes through a window, which almost, or glass top, which feels like it's, you know, foreshadowing Suspiria, the double death at the beginning, whatever, crashes through it down an elevator shaft, but latches and grabs onto the cables
Wow.
and just comes down in such a speed. It's beautifully done. And that's an Argento kill right there. And a good
Yeah.
way to end it. And the one thing about these movies is you just fucking end. Final death, boop,
Yep.
the end. Final credits roll. And that's a perfect segue into the next one, I think, just to keep
Right
us
on, man.
on time.
Yeah.
So now we're going to be talking about Four Flies on Grey Velvet, also from 1971. And this is a musician is stalked by an unknown homicidal maniac who blackmails him for the accidental killing of another stalker. And although I don't know what his take is on this movie, it was obviously not well, you couldn't find it for the longest time.
Right.
It has gotten critically panned. I think Ebert was middling on it, 2.5 on it, but other people said it was incomprehensible. One person, I can't remember who it was, but I guess somewhat in the film industry said like it was the worst movie I'd seen. But this was interview from like 1979. I'm like, that is crazy to say, because once again, this movie looks beautiful. I love the introduction with the drums. Again, the cinematography with the drums and how you're introduced, and he's like playing. It looks like we're just following him like throughout his week or day or whatever it may be, and it's this drummer musician, and he sees that someone is following him, and he just happens to be in these different areas where like he's at a music shop playing the drums, and he's in the back window, and he notices him. Like, I don't know how he notices him, but he notices him, and that opens up the movie here. But fuck, damn, does this look good? And so from a visual standpoint, and there's Argentoisms, of course, you know, it's his third movie, so of course he's becoming an auteur at this point. But that girl that goes down those flight of stairs, I know I'm not talking literally, like her head goes down the stairs, and the knife comes down. That's pure Argento right there. Right there. And I'm jumping, but I'm just trying to prove the point that there's these Argentoisms here. And this is why that although it's ludicrous, and I get this whole thing about the retina or, photographing the last images before you die. And that's how they capture that it looks like 4 flies and whatever, but they don't know what that means. That's still science fiction. There was talk about it, but it can't exist. But they make you see. I feel like what they at least try to do is they at least make you believe it within the realm of the movie. So to me, that's okay.
Right. No, I think it's great.
Yeah,
I love that science fiction aspect of it. It's a cool idea. Why not? Why not go with that? With the last frame of the eye, and let's study it. And this is new science that's been developed. Why not? We've heard crazy things in science since. You know what I mean? There's been lots of things that do come up in conversation. This is 1971, whatever. So it's
like having a port built into our heads for VR in the future.
There you go. See, who knows? and the reveal here is done just the way the reveal was done in Bird. The same thing. What's the bird with the crystal plumage? What does that mean? Well, when you get to the fucking end, you'll see what the deal is. Same thing here. It's the same type of reveal. Yep. You hear something, what does that mean? And then you find out, holy fuck, look. I always thought that was such a clever reveal. Very cool stuff. I enjoy this story more than Cat.
Yes.
Cat seems like, isn't it disjointed? Odd? This seems like this is the successor to Bird more than Cat is. Cat seems to be the odd man out. And I'm not knocking it. Again, it's 7 out of 10. I enjoy it. And it's 3, good jolly that came out in a row from him in the beginning of his career. But it just seems like Flies was more of a successor to Bird. It has a little bit of a similar structure, and reveal especially.
Well, the mask that is not really needed. other than for us, the audience.
No, but it's
Let's,
cool.
let's be honest. It's fucking cool and creepy. I
Yeah.
agree. That's where I was going with
Yeah.
it. I love it, but it's really just for us because it could have literally been just blackness or shadow and whatever, but it adds another, again, we're talking about cinematic.
Hold on a minute. Hold
We're
on.
talking okay, well, sorry. Oh, but later, I guess they use the mask again.
No, hold on. There's a reason
Yeah.
for that particular mask. That mask is of a blonde boy. Think about who the killer is.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes. True.
Why not?
Very
Why
true.
not?
So there's, I
Alter
guess
ego.
there's a hint there with that as well. And I wasn't even thinking of that. And
I
again,
just thought of it now.
it does come up again where where they're wearing the mask, but it is creepy enough. And it feels like there's like he said, although Argento is kind of remaking his own movie over and over again, what really he's doing is it's a murder mystery and he's taking elements. And I think in Deep Red, although not a mask, you get that dummy character
Similar.
that comes out and it's just creepy and whatever. It's like if he takes elements that worked, I think I'm going to take that. That worked, I'm going to take that.
Mhm.
And there's enough that works here. Like I think this one is more straightly jolly than Cat even is, in my opinion. I mean, you do get the killer whispering in that whispery whisk voice, which is creepy. I always love it. I love it in fucking every movie I see it in. Prom Night included is just beautiful.
Right.
That's,
I agree.
I just love that aspect of the killer, like talking in a whisper. It's just haunting. And it's there, and you get that mask, you get that setup where he thinks so this musician approaches the guy that he's been stalked by or think he's been stalked by, and he ends up thinking he kills him because they end up in this old abandoned opera, funny enough, or music house. And as he's about to attack, the guy has a switchblade and pulls it out on our main character. And as he does that, they start scuffling and moving, and these lights pop up in one of the boxes, and photographs start being taken. And the guy, the main character, kills the stalker accidentally,
right?
Just in the scuffle,
accidentally, right?
And what we realize
blackmail
is it's blackmail, and blackmail for the death. But then we realize later that this guy's not even dead, and it was all a setup. It was all a setup, which then ends up allowing for more deaths.
Great kill too, when he's there and he's talking, and then what is it he comes at him with? I wrote a fucking, what did I say? What is it called? What does the killer kill the fucking that guy with?
I'm drawing
you follow the hand.
Yes,
it's a POV kill. It's great. But I forgot what it is. Is it a club or a fucking pipe or something? I don't know what it is.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but because I watched it last week, I'm forgetting my head because Argento did that a lot. He was already doing like with even the letter in this, where the letter you're following the point of view of the letter. Excuse me, and it gets put in someone's hands and it opened up and what? Sorry, there's blackmail in both movies, which leads to more death. It almost seems like blackmail should be an element of a giallo. Since it seems to be so predominant in these early ones, but it's a plot device. It works. This guy ends up thinking that he's killed somebody, so our main character thinks he's killed somebody. He can't go to the police, as he knows, but it's also the killer relays it when they have a visit where he can't sleep one night, gets up only to be attacked by the killer in his own house and told, I'm not going to kill you yet. So the killer has him locked on a stranglehold and ultimately says that you can't, I'm not going to kill you yet. And you're on your own. You can't go to the police. You can't go to anybody. You're by yourself. So it fucking starts eating away at him. So he admits to his girlfriend or his wife, that he's murdered somebody. And she can't really believe it out of the gate, but then he makes her believe it. And really, the rest sort of the story unfolds. But the weird part is they're at a party. They talk about this. I don't know what the connection is with his reoccurring dream after he hears the story about the Arab country and with the decapitation. And he keeps having this. So the story's told at this party that they're at. And then he starts having a reoccurring dream. The only thing I can think of is the motif to lead to the end for the final kill.
Well, that's what it was. It was leading. It wasn't ending up being about him. It was being about fucking what was going to happen with the killer, which is kind of
essentially.
Cool.
But he puts him there, so he's having this reoccurring dream, and I guess it's just to reiterate that he can't go anywhere. He's a prisoner, and essentially he's just waiting for his death. Maybe that's it, because the killer's told him he's not going to kill him yet, and he can't go anywhere. So he's like he might as well. Maybe he just visualizes himself as that guy stuck waiting to be killed.
Right. Yeah. So that's a good call. I didn't even.
Well, I just did it now as I was talking it out.
It makes sense
as I was thinking about it. But there's
stuck.
Again, like there's a lot of characters in this one too, but not as many characters as in Bird or as in Cat.
As in Cat.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what's cool about the characters here is that they're red herrings, and especially when you get more information, when that detective goes somewhere and you find out something about a female, and now you're like, okay, there are 3 or 4 females in this movie. Who are we talking about? And one is led to think, okay, I think this is going to be the one. Then that one gets killed. Another solid sequence there with that, because that one, the housekeeper, she's like fucking nosy and something else is going on, and then maybe she's putting the stuff. So you see that, and like, okay, that was a good red herring. Then you see the other things later on in one. I'm like, okay. And when you say something is a cheat, the only thing I will meet you on is they are showing flashbacks throughout the movie of something going on in the past about someone being yelled at by a parent, and they're in a padded room, like an asylum type thing. And they're just kind of randomly thrown in the movie, and you never see who's thinking it. It's just there. It's almost like they did in Tenebrae.
I was going to say, yeah, I was thinking, as soon as you described it, I'm like, well, actually, that is no different than what he did in Tenebrae with that damn
Same
flashback thing. Yeah.
Now, but there's this one scene in particular when they're showing a female packing bags, something's going on, and they show 2 such scenes. Now, the first time I saw it, and then when I had a reveal, I said, well, wait a minute. But now upon watching it, I'm like, because of the way that character reacts, that character could have been thinking about something else that another person told them about that situation, and then felt the urge to make a phone call, if in fact they were even thinking about that. So the note that I wrote here is unfair misdirection, ? That's what I was going to propose to you. It seems to me like you've already made up your mind, and you've gone as far as to say that you believe it to be a cheat. So
personally,
personally. Well, and are you because of what I said?
No, but I don't discussing it. So that's why I went back to kind of watch the beginning, and there was a nuance. So even in the opening sequences, or like maybe 10, 15 minutes in, I think there's a part where he walks in, and his wife and the caretaker, the housemate, the housekeeper are sort of talking, and they look, and you can sort of now figure out, like, you don't know what that means then, but I think there's enough. I'm not saying that it's well done, that it's like, oh, this is amazing, but I think maybe in retrospect you can see some elements of the of the setup of what's going to happen. But I do think there could have been maybe another sequence that was related to the character, but not necessarily revealing anything that would make them a killer. And that's what I don't recall. Is there a discussion about an abusive father, or are we just seeing it in those flashbacks?
We find out in the climax.
That's it.
She explains everything.
Exactly. She tells exposition, killer
correct. Which is no different. That's no different than fucking Pamela Voorhees. So
the listeners, again, if you didn't know about our show from how long since you're patrons, you should fucking know that we're going to spoil these things. So if you haven't seen it, then please stop it. Like, ultimately we find out that the killer's his wife. And she married him and planned all of this because her abusive father died, and she wanted to kill her father, but didn't have the ability to kill her father. So married someone that looked like him so that she could kill him.
Well, see, now I don't think that.
Okay.
She says, this is what she says. She didn't get a chance to take it out on anybody. But then she says, and then I met you and fell in love with you. And I thought it was going to be enough for her. She didn't say this, but she seemed like she was happy with him. But there was a couple times she compared him to him, her father to him. Yeah. He goes, you're just like him. But I thought when the relationship began, she thought that was going to take that away from her. But then he had some type of habits, apparently, that were resembling her father. Now, this is what I noticed this time around.
But he didn't do anything yet. Like, he didn't cheat.
Hold on.
Like, they should have him cheat on something. Like, it does later. They should have had that maybe be a catalyst.
Can't blame him there.
Or something. Well, who's going to stick around? Like, he's in a fucking tub. And she's there, like, I'm like, yeah, I think, like, if you don't think anything's going to happen, then you're not going to hang out with somebody that's taking a bath. Oh, no,
fucking girl.
Don't do that. Oh, no, don't do that. Was it her bathing or was it him bathing?
He was bathing. She suggested him to take a bath. She goes, I got some great bath salts. She told him, you need to relax. Bath salts.
I'd be like, the first thing in my head is, I'm getting lucky. Like, who the hell's going to suggest that?
Right. And his wife is pretty. She's a pretty girl.
Oh, yeah.
But Dahlia, holy fuck, she's on another level for me. Oh, man. Every time I watch this movie. Oh, my God, that one. Whew, Dahlia. So anyway, there are 3 or 4 times throughout the film where his wife, tells Roberto, leave, go, get the fuck out. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. The one time I think she even slaps his face when he refuses to go and gets in the cab. I believe if he leaves and goes with her, none of this happens. She just wanted him to listen to what she was recommending. Now, they don't explain it well enough in the final act, because she does talk for fucking 5 minutes, sometimes even in Italian. And there's so many things going on. That is the weakness right there. I think I think it was written as, because remember, she passed the message to his friend, and he goes, oh yeah, your wife wants you to leave and go with her. So 3 or 4 times it's mentioned. She says, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. I think she just wanted to have something over him where basically it's just proving that he loves her enough to listen to her. And she's saying, leave, trust me, we got to get out of here. And he refused.
And him by not doing it is...
That's what I think.
Okay. And fine. I'm all on board. I just think there needed to be a catalyst.
Agreed.
For her to think, like, maybe it started with his infidelity or something. But if he's just a nice guy that kind of he's a nice guy at first, then we find out that that's because his wife's gone, and then he ends up in the situation. But they don't ever allude to the fact that he's been like this or whatever. It's almost like he should have been a womanizer or whatever. And
you don't want to show your hand. You don't want because then now you have a reason. I'd rather them keep it quiet. I would rather, because all of a sudden, if he appears to have a weakness, now you're thinking, oh, maybe the wife is sick of this and she's fucking going to kill him. You don't want to have that even in your head. You want to do the misdirection where at the end, it's a surprise, and I'm going to tell you why I did it. Just like Pamela Voorhees. But then again, some people say Pamela Voorhees is the cheat. But they say it's a cheat because we don't meet her till the fucking climax. Well, we've had the wife the whole movie.
Hey, you know what? Good comparison. You're right. And at least, and she explains it at the end there, and I love that movie. So why can't I allow it here too? And this is definitely more artistic, no question. So yeah, I'll buy that just from the comparison you made to a movie that I should have already had in my head from a revelation, from a identity and motive introduced at the end. So why not? So
why not?
Done and done. Because this is definitely, it's got more Argento thumbprints than the last one we were just talking about. Very good suspense pieces, set pieces, and some decent murder as well. And the 4 flies on gray velvet, as they take from one of the victims, was when the wife comes back at the end. And at this point, you're like, kind of, at that point, I was like, it's got to be her. Even in my mind, I hadn't read anything about the movie. So I'm like, it's got to be her. But how is it her or whatever? And then her necklace swings, so he realizes that they took the picture that looked like 4 flies, but when they do this vision of her necklace swing, and there's a fly in the pendant that she's got, and the swinging motion was caught in the retina as being 4 distinct pictures of a fly, which I thought was kind of cool, even if we're playing in the science fiction realm and whatever. So that reveal like that, she goes crazy. There's a scuffle. She hightails it out of Dodge, and her fucking car hits a truck, and she gets decapitated, which ends awesome. the motif of the recurring dream of the guy getting decapitated that we were talking about earlier in the dream. And her car explodes. Everything explodes, and titles roll.
Yes.
Not awesome. Like a beat later, the titles just the final credits roll. I mean, done.
I love that about Argento. I fucking love no extra bullshit, no fucking coda, no fucking epilogue, prologue, whatever. Boom. Peace out. Fucking villain's dead. Life goes on. Story's over. I love that. I fucking love it. I think it's a great ending, and it's a super slow-mo kill. He almost kind of did it again later on in Phenomena when he killed the first girl with the fucking slow glass and all that.
The one shot that I've always wondered, like, I guess the film speed, they didn't light it properly. It's always been grainy as fucking shit, no matter what version of the film you have it on. In fact, I think the 4K just accentuates the grain that was already in the film. So, but you're right. But yes, there's more Argentoisms here that I think fans of his later works would latch onto, and it probably shares more similarities to Bird than Cat O' Nine Tails. But
for sure,
again, a stepping stone to Deep Red. But in fact, I know I'm in the minority because I think what did I give Deep Red? 7.5, maybe 8.
Oh, I don't
People
remember.
love Deep Red. Maybe I gave it an 8, but I would put this right up there. Like I was going to be 7.5 when we started. When we started, I liked it better than Cat O' Nine Tails and whatever. But I think I'll give it an 8.
Yeah, me too.
I think it just. The more I think about it, the more, and again, I rewatched the beginning just to see if I could argue it with whatever. But your explanation of just like, hey, Pamela Voorhees was a cheat or considered a cheat, and it works, and we love that movie. And you're right, and she explains it. She explains it a lot quicker than Voorhees does. That's for sure.
But she's in the movie the whole time, so why is it a cheat?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It isn't like a character that we just found out at the end that just walked into the scene. Who are you? Oh, well, I'm the new housekeeper. Oh, okay, since your old one's dead. Okay, boom. By the way,
I really wanted this gig, so I killed everybody that got in my way.
Seriously, there's her movie. That is it exactly. A new housekeeper. She could have come in and fucking announced herself as the killer. Yeah. And then people would say this would be Friday the 13th. She could explain why and everything. Well, I was locked in an asylum because okay, holy fuck. You know? So but instead it's the wife, and it makes sense. And you have the Argentoisms, you have the quirky characters in this one. You didn't really get them so much in Cat. You get that guy God, short for Godfrey, and the other guy, and the bird jerk off. And then you get the of course
postal guy.
You get the gay detective, you know, and he's good too. And he had 84 cases, he never got one right, and then he gets one at the end and he dies. There's a little bit more humor in this one, but it's good. It's good humor. It's not overdone. It's typical. It's Argentoisms. It's the way he usually has those quirky characters. You know, this
absolutely
motif. But yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I think that this is fucking. I love the way it's shot. Bottom line, the cinematography is fucking great. It's totally, man. Totally.
I looked right throughout the movie when we were talking about the 7 films one, and a lot of people agree. They go, "What the fuck happened to it?" It was announced, they had it. It was not on their site anymore, and then you find them on eBay. Like, did they even do a proper run? And then everybody says, you know, this happens with 7 a lot. I don't know this, but this is what I've just read really quickly. They said this happens, and they wouldn't be surprised if you started seeing it at their year-end or mid-year sale, that it will pop back up and be available again. So I'm hoping, because it's a 4-disc special edition, and I really like this, and I would love to add it to the collection because it was great. Like, really liked this. Actually, probably an understatement. It was great.
Nice, man.
But
I'm glad.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. But again, it's not going to be for everybody, and you've got to you've just got to, I guess, know the realm of Giallo or Jali and appreciate it. But this is definitely was a fun watch.
Right on. I'm so glad you really enjoyed it. That's great. I was hoping you would. I've always said it's an underappreciated one. Nobody talks about it. You hear a lot about Bird, of course, and you hear about Cat. It seems like and I think it's because it hasn't had a release in a while. I think it's got a lot to do with it. It's not streaming anywhere really, so it's different with our general films. But that's awesome. Yeah, I brought this one last year.
Deep Red definitely gets the love. So Bird gets it because it was his first film, and then it feels like, even when you're looking at it from a historical standpoint, it seems like Cat o' Nine Tails and Four Flies are kind of mentioned on the side, but it's like Bird, then Deep Red, then of course Suspiria, and then sometimes it seems like jumped to Tenebrae,
sure.
and then Phenomena and Opera maybe a little lesser, but like you skip over a few, like you skip over Inferno, it seems, when people, not us, but just
no,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, that run is incredible from fucking 70 to 87. Forget about it.
It really is.
Yeah, man. It's so strong. So strong. Cool, man. Well, I guess that's all us have to do is do our spin the wheel, make a deal, Whatever.
Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to make this more fair? And do we want to put all 30 in, or do we want to
all 30 are in?
No, but I meant because don't we want this to be maybe one of yours now? And we could just put it from 1 to 50. No. Okay.
Fuck it. Whatever it is, it's a draw. Whatever it is, man.
Well, that was number 15. That was number 15. So can you take 15 out of it?
I think 15 automatically
number
does.
16,
I think
16 was me, right?
Whatever one it is, I don't think it'll come up again as long as I use the same app.
All right. Let's do it.
Yeah, see 1 to 30. Let's see here. All right, what's it say? 5.
Well, that's you. So I don't know.
Oh, is it? Okay, let's go back to the... and the funny thing is I have to go back to the fucking... What do you call it? Did I write them down somewhere, or is it just when I...
It might just be in text.
It might just be a text. Okay. Let's see. So the first 5 are me, huh? Where the hell am I? Well, everybody, it really is... what do you call it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Stephen King found footage slasher blind spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 werewolves. Oh fuck! I don't know what to think about werewolves, but I figure they haven't been discussed enough.
We've already done American Werewolf, correct? And we've already done Silver Bullet.
Yes, we have.
So
we got to figure a couple out. Maybe one apiece.
And The Howling? Did we do The Howling yet?
I don't know if we did The Howling or not.
Then there's obviously, like, I know there's a ton of them. I mean, there's Bad Moon. We haven't talked about Bad Moon. There's fucking
Late Phases.
Late Phases, which I haven't even seen yet.
Oh, you must. We should just do Late
everybody's recommending. There we go. Well, there's Late Phases is one for sure. And Company of Wolves, Wolfen. There's a bunch.
Wolfen actually even isn't, believe it or not. You know that? It's fucking. It's actually even not a wolf movie.
I know
it would be.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
I remember. It's more to do with Native Indians, correct?
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. Then there's the movie WER. There's fucking Ginger Snaps, of course. Have we covered Ginger Snaps? Holy fuck.
I'm starting to forget. That's the crazy part. I was like adamant. Oh, I won't forget. I'm starting to forget, man. There's ones now that I'm like, I can't remember if we've covered them.
So that's it. 202. We'll see y'all on 203. And much love. We out of here. Manchichi.